Do I have any religious beliefs? Um, I mean, I read the Bible. I read a lot of spiritual texts, but when it comes to religious beliefs, are my beliefs based on organized religion? Probably not. Not really. Not really. Not really. But yeah, no. So y'all, my bad. I'm just not even explaining what we gonna do right now. Basically, whatever questions y'all have, let's talk about them. Okay. If y'all want to join, feel free. If you want to just ask a question in the chat, feel free. Um, the discussion that we had earlier was the metaphysical meaning of tithing, right? We studied Malachi 3:10, as well as a couple other verses that talked about the nature of tithing and what it meant, right? With 10 representing wholeness or completion. Um, yeah. So the question can be on tithing. The question can be on anything, really. Let me turn this damn light down. I don't know why the screen's so bright today. What's up? What's up? Oh, okay. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am wonderful.
I'm here again.
I love it.
My voice is better.
No problem. You doing all right though?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So, I have a question.
Hmm.
My question is that is this whole awakening and remembrance and everything tapping into our power and our higher self, higher version? Is it all these things, the remembrance, the awakening, the tapping into your higher self, is it all about manifestation? Is it all about being able to call forth things into existence? Is it all about this material world? Is it all about like, is it just about manifestation? Because I feel like you see, when we used to be very religious, whenever we go to church, it got to a time it was all about you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna buy a house, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that, and then now we are awakening, and all I see a lot of gurus talking about how you can manipulate reality, or how you can bend reality for it to work in your favor, so you'll be able to manifest things that you want. So my question is it all about manifestation? Is it this whole awakening journey and this whole remembrance, is it all about we just manifesting things in the material world?
Beautiful question. It's not, but the nature, your nature is to create, right? You are the creator. So within you is the spirit of God. And the spirit of God is always trying to create. If you think of the most, even what is the most potent energy in the human body, the most potent energy is going to be sexual energy. Sexual energy gives you the ability to create a child, right? And
Okay.
so we typically call that kind of quote unquote our life force. But even beyond creating a child, it can create the life that you want. And even if we really break it down, your entire life is creation. Every interaction that you have with people, you are creating, you are choosing it. When you walk into a room and you judge that people are looking at you, treating you a certain way, thinking about you a certain way, you are always creating it in your imagination. So when we talk about the spiritual path, what I believe from my perspective, the highest achievement on the spiritual path is it's getting to know yourself as source. Therefore, you can allow everything to be a reflection of the divinity that you are. We can get stuck just looking at certain things, looking for money, looking for that specific person, looking for specific bills to get paid. But those things are a trap, because once we start overly attaching to them, we begin to praise them and worship them. We make our whole life about affirming and visualizing for those things. That in itself is the trap. The paradox is that when we get deep enough on this path and we just know ourselves as source, we'll get all of those things anyway, because all of those things were never outside of us. So That's kind of the trap, right? Is that the more that you're doing it just to get things, it's gonna be difficult. But the more that you just know yourself as the source of everything, all of those things begin to come naturally. So yes and no. It is about getting things per se because that's your natural state. Your natural desire is to create, is to expand, is to enjoy life.
Okay.
But when you just know yourself as the creator and you rest in that knowing, all of those things flow to you anyway.
So then, how do we balance everything out without being too attached to the material world, or just focusing on like
Yeah.
uh, manifestation, trying different manifestations just to create something or to get what we want? Because if you already know that you are the creator and you you are in control, then that means there isn't anything for you to worry about. You don't need to go about searching for the new manifestation technique.
Yeah.
You just have to live in that realization that okay, this is me. I am the creator and I am enough. I am that I am. I do not need to seek any external validation to make me feel like okay,
Yeah.
my existence I am powerful or something because I already know, right?
Yeah.
So how do we find that balance without being too attached to the material world and the cars and the houses and so those things do not steal our joy or our meaning or
Yeah.
the whole like our whole existence.
Yeah. You actually answered it within the question, right? So
Okay.
this is graduation time. You about to graduate, girl. You got this. All right. So
Okay.
it's about it's about enjoying your life, right? Just like you said, if you knew that you were source and you actually moved like you knew, what would you do? Well, shit, you would just do what the best things for you to do in this moment were. You would be enjoying
Exactly.
life.
Yeah.
You would enjoy life and you would rest in the knowing that you are source. No matter what was going on out there and the bills were piling up, you would do whatever you thought was best and you would rest in the knowing that you were source. When you were around your family, you would enjoy them and you would rest in the knowing that you were source. When it was time to go to sleep, you would rest in the knowing that you were source. When it was time to drive and go pick up your kids, when it was time to go to work, you would do that to the best of your ability, but you would rest in the knowing that you were source. The last, man, I love this question. So the last discussion that we had, I had mentioned something that Jesus said. When Jesus representing I am awareness, he said, give what is owed to Caesar, right? And then give what is owed to God to God. What this simply means is you can do whatever you have to do in that external world. You can walk around, you can go to work, you can try to figure out how to pay these things, you can do whatever you won't have to do out there. But are you doing it resting in the knowing that you are source? When you rest in the knowing that you are source with whatever you do, everything becomes magical. So it's about walking through life with that knowing and enjoying life. You're not meant to sit here and control every emotion, control every thought. You are down here because you want to have a human experience. So you do your best to have the best human experience that you can. You enjoy life to the fullest. And the primary, right? The primary thing that you should remember throughout your day is that you are source. You are all that there is.
Okay. I think I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to the point where hearing you talk about this um we just resting in the knowing that we are the creator and we are enough. I think that answers everything. And it just boils down to the fact that if you already know that you're that powerful, you wouldn't go about wandering, allowing your mind to wander around, trying to find some things outside of you to validate, who you truly are. You understand? Because it's just answers every question. And yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You would just rest in that knowing. You would enjoy life. And I would even
It's true.
let's take it a step further. Even if your thoughts wandered, you would still know that since I am the creator, I can make the choice right now that that doesn't matter. That I am still all powerful and everything is still working out for me. That's how deep it goes, right? So it's not even about micromanaging and not letting your thoughts go. If your thoughts go, that's fine. And if your emotions go, that's fine. If the circumstance looks like whatever, it's fine. It's about knowing that you are the perfection within it all. So all of it can be rearranged and remolded to match you when you rest in that truth of who you are.
Okay. I have a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, um, the program you started says childhood, right? I do not want to tie myself to that story that this is how I am. That's not who I am. I can choose to be whoever that I want to be. So, with the past experiences that we've had, and then maybe some limiting beliefs that sometimes creeps in or pops up in our life while we are on this awakening journey.
Mm-hmm.
It just sometimes make you feel like, oh, okay, maybe I can actually manifest some things, but not everything. I think this is too much. So I saw a post online, and a lady was talking about manifesting her desired body, and she said she doesn't think it's possible even if she works out. And someone told her that no, everything is possible so far as you believe in, so far as you know that it is possible. It is possible. You can choose to sleep and wake up in a different body. And I saw the debate. People were just going back and forth. Others were telling them that, oh, stop playing. Like, there's nothing like that. Stop being delusional. And the person said, no, it's not. It's real. You can actually manifest everything because you are the creator. So, coming to think of it, it made me remember that, okay, it means I really, really have to reflect on some things. And do I still work on some things, or it just made me reflect on some things that does that mean that sometimes we just feel like, oh, okay, I think these days it's very easy. If I feel like I'm craving chicken wings, I can get a call. My friend says, okay, hello, Santi, what's up? I just thought maybe I could drive around, I could pass by and let's go get some wings. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's easy for me to manifest. It's so easy. But now I guess to, okay, how about um winning the lottery? How much are we talking about? Let's say $10,000. And we're like, I think that's a bit too much. Maybe we should talk about $100.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, really? You still really haven't come to realize or accept that you are truly the creator. Okay, you are the creator, but not everything, right? So how do you rest in that, and how do you um not limit yourself that okay, I know I'm a creator, but then I can do something but not everything.
But but remember, even you saying that, right?
Mm,
As you go through life and you make these decisions or you set these goals or you say, okay, this is what I want to experience. Well, the first thing that you're going to confront is yourself. The only thing that you are ever confronting is yourself. Sure, you can tell me right now that you can get some chicken wings and all of a sudden that can be created like this. But the same source that created those chicken wings, that flows through those chicken wings, is the same source that flows through that $1,000, that $10,000, that $1,000,000. It's all the exact same substance. All that substance flows through you as well. So everything is connected to you through this one substance, which is source, which is God. The only thing we're ever confronting is our own perception. Who is the one who says it's more difficult to get a certain amount of money than it is to get some food? It's us. Okay? So there are going to be certain things that you might feel are easier. But even me thinking that because something is bigger, it'll be more difficult than another, it's just my assumption. I'm always just confronting my assumption. So this is the growth, right? This is what confronting limiting beliefs is. This is what removing limiting beliefs and growing and getting to know yourself as the creator is. It is, how do you begin to confront those things? A lot of the quote unquote limiting beliefs we have are just things that we've held on, beliefs we've held on for so long that we think they're normal. What is a large amount of money versus a small amount of money? Well, if you ask different people, they'll have different amounts, right? It's based on what you've accepted as true over a long period of time. So the goal in this is to start dismantling some of those programs. How do you do it? Just by becoming aware of them. And then once I become aware of them, I can tell a different story. If I perceive myself telling a story that, oh, it's difficult to get this amount of money, well, I can simply change the story right now by saying, no, it's all made of the same substance that flows through me. If I can get some chicken wings, then I can get 10K. It's all the same. It's just the story that I'm telling about it. So it's not about feeling different about those things. It's about what is the story that I'm telling about all of those things. That is what the work is, right? That's where confronting limiting beliefs and things like that is. It's when you say it. Now, when you're walking through life, you'll have these divine opportunities to confront yourself. This is why when you're aware and you're walking around knowing that you're source and you're keeping your consciousness here on you and not always in the external world. Now, when those thoughts show up, when those emotions show up, you can ask yourself the questions and you can confront those stories. You can actually kind of redefine them how you want them to be. And boom, now they magically can change for you.
I love that. Thank you so much. So then, to someone that maybe you be on that frequency of the God mode and knowing everything is okay, and then sometimes you follow, like you just feel like, maybe this whole thing. Yeah, I know sometimes the universe really proves to me that, yeah, I'm that powerful. But the moment we are not seeing miracles, then sometimes it makes you feel like, oh, maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
the spirit or whatever that is fueling this whole power, it's kind of down, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
now,
down.
let's say if we are to really be logic, right?
Okay.
Although we shouldn't be logic at all. If you want to really be logic, okay, how are you going, like, am I going to be able to be stable, like have this fixed mindset that this is it, this is my reality, and this is how it's gonna be, and I am not gonna shake no matter what happens. Like the awareness, right?
Okay.
Sometimes we get to a point where you're like, this whole awareness thing is a whole lot of work, and so that means you're gonna be aware all the time.
Well, let me ask you something. First, let me ask you something quick. Even if you, let's say that you learn how to ride a bike right now. Okay. If you learn how to ride a bike today, do you have to constantly visualize and remember that you know how to ride a bike all day, or else you forget about it?
You write about a day.
No. If you learn how to ride that bike right now, right? Do you have to constantly remember? Do you have to constantly affirm and visualize yourself riding a bike to be able to get back on a bike and ride it?
No.
Then why do you think that you have to constantly walk around and tell yourself that you are God all the time? Why do you think that?
Why do we fall off?
Who
Or it's part of the process.
who says you fall off? Who's saying you're falling off? Who is?
Because in my mind, I think maybe this whole thing is all
But think
holding up to that frequency forever.
think about what you just said. In your mind, you are telling the story that if you're not saying something, you're not it. But you could never be any less God. How could you be any less source? You can go back to that knowing when you need to remind yourself, But think about this, all right? Just because you see something, just because you look out in reality and you don't see anything, does that mean that things are not moving? Absolutely not. You can only see the room that you're in. You can only see 0.0001% of reality. The rest of it is always moving. It's always morphing to match you. The same way that you don't have to constantly affirm that your heart keeps beating, it does. You don't have to constantly affirm that you are source. You just are source. You just are. You don't have to constantly affirm for your name. You just are it. You don't fall off because you stop telling the story, because you stop affirming. That's like somebody saying, I've been trying to manifest an SP or money. And they're saying, well, I've been affirming for 2 hours, but I stopped and all of a sudden the money stopped. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. It is flowing to you, as you, through you, no matter what, because you've already made the choice. The moment that you decided that you were source, the moment you woke up to it, that has been your reality. Now, if you fall off and you start telling another story, you just remind yourself that you are source. But you've never been anything less. You could tell the story that you're not it. You can make up a story and say, oh, because I'm not saying this, that I'm not God. But the truth is that you've always been source. You've never not been source. So it's not about walking around and staying in this thought process all the time. Well, when you have the opportunity to do so, yes. But know that even when you're not, you're still everything you desire to be.
Oh, I love this, man. I think this really, really, really hit home. This just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then now my last question is that last but not the least. Um, okay, sometimes I found myself measuring people's level of awakening with um their achievements or possessions.
Yeah.
And why? I don't know why I've been trying to stop that because I'm like, is this whole awakening thing? Is it supposed to make you more wealthier? Because you know, the moment you talk about your spiritual, your awakening, like I don't want to talk about anybody else because I know it's a societal kind of programming. Like we assume that
Yeah.
okay, if you're spiritual, if you're awakened, then that means things are supposed to be well with you. They are supposed to see things that makes it so obvious that of course you're awakened, of course you're God, of
Right.
course
Right.
you know you're a creator,
Yeah.
of course you manifest things out of a thin air, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You turn water into wine. I feel you. I feel you. I know it. But okay,
Uh-huh.
let's break it down like this, right? You have desires that are specific to you. If you went around and you talked to 100 different people and you were like, okay, what does a perfect life look like to you? Some of them would say $1 million. Some might say living by myself in the country on a deserted island where nobody can find me. Some will say they want to live in the city. Some will say they want to live in a rural environment. Some will say they want to live with nobody around. They just want they just want just enough to survive. I want a house. I want a bed. I want running water. I'm good, right? We all have different desires. We all have different desires. Even when scripture will say, right, well, judge a man by his fruit, right? Well, how do you know what each person wants? We don't. We just know our perception of what we believe people should have. But that's just a judgment based on who I am. Right? I'm not seeing them how they are. I'm seeing them how I am. I'm the one who looks at that person and makes a judgment. Oh, you should have more. According to whose standards? My standards, not their standards. I don't know what this person wants. I don't know what they see as a good life, right? If you go study certain people, certain monks in the monastery, right? They're living with the bare minimum, fulfilled, happy. There's certain people walking through this life. They go to work, they go home, they meditate until it's time to go to work again. That is the fulfillment of their life. Some people, they stay in the same job for 30 years just so they can provide for their wife, for their children. And that is fulfillment to them. They would not ask for anything different. I'm simply judging that because I have a different perspective of what success looks like. But we're all individuals, right? We all have our different ideas of what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, what is success and what isn't success. So even that, right? Think about it like this. When you're seeing people and you're like, oh, they should have this, that's not telling you about them. That's just giving you more clarity on what you want. That's all. It's still a positive thing. That person can have whatever life they want. But when I look at them and I all of a sudden have more desires, it's just waking me up to what I really want. You're not judging them. You're simply getting clarity on what you want through them. Your awareness, God is working within you and saying, this is what you want. You want this. It's just giving you more choices.
Oh, preach. How do you have all this knowledge? Like sometimes I just look at you and like, how does one person has all these wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and the way you explain things, it's so good
I
that
appreciate you.
you just get it. Like you speak to the soul, and I'm not even exaggerating. The way you explain things is so different. And for some time now since I discovered you, it has just been you. And anytime I see your post, I'm like, you're enough. Like it's enough because you make me remember. You make me rest in knowing that yeah, that's it. This is it. Like
Yeah.
don't look elsewhere. Don't look up, don't look down, don't seek for any external validation because this really explains it a lot.
Yeah.
And I like the way you spoke about how everybody's desires or everybody definition for success is different,
Yeah.
and it fulfills them because of course my definition for success is also different. And I'm sure the same way that I see people and be like, oh, maybe if they say that they are this, they are waking, they are that, maybe they are supposed to have this, but I don't live their life. I'm not them. And I don't know what they are going through, and I don't know what fulfillment means to them, and I don't know what success means to them. So that explains it, and I like the fact that you also said it's also a reflection of your perspective about life, and then also it gives you more clarity about what you actually want,
Yeah.
and then how you want to live your life, or what's you get to have like more how do I put it, like the bigger picture about what
Yeah.
success really means to you. And I like that. I
So
really like that. I like the way you explain things.
thank you. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Goddess. I appreciate you. I appreciate you truly. Let me even say one more thing about what you said, right? So this is why it's important to be quote unquote selfish. All right, I'm going to explain that because the world will push us and be like, oh, you should not be self-centered. But when I speak of self-centered, when I say put your consciousness on yourself, this is a beautiful thing because if our consciousness is on everything outside of us, of course we're looking at other people and we're judging them. But we're not really judging them, we're judging us and our desires. When your awareness, that source that's flowing through you, is just trying to give you more clarity on what you want. So when you actually start looking at the world and making it about you, you don't sit around and have time to judge other people because you see them and they just give you more clarity on what you want for yourself. That's it. And as you expand, as you start to see people the way you want to see them, they give you more clarity on how you want them to show up for you. Now a greater version of them, a better, more beautiful version of them has the energetic space to show up. Now when you see the thing that maybe you're like, oh, I wish they would get this, and you actually have the awareness to say, oh, I only wish that I saw that from them, is because I want that for myself. Right? When I make it about myself, when I start treating the world as an extension of myself, as just this divine mirror that's giving me a deeper understanding of myself, now I'm constantly growing, constantly growing. This is what you come down here for. You don't come down here to sit around and judge. But that seems to be all that we as people do. We sit around and we judge politicians, religious leaders. We judge everybody, our parents. We judge our kids. We judge our friends. We judge everybody except for ourselves. When even our judgments about other people is just giving us insight on what we want in our own life. When you start making it about you, all of these things become fulfillment because you allow the voice of God to speak to you through your desires. That's all.
Yeah, I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
You make it very easy to be able to understand some things, and thank you so much.
Absolutely,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, as always. I always appreciate your perspective. Thank you for joining.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Thank you. You know I love y'all, right? You know I love y'all unconditionally, right? Not like human love, right? Humans want to control you to love you. I can only love you if you're doing something for me. I love y'all unconditionally. Unconditionally. All right, what else y'all got? I'm finna get some water. I'll be right back. Appreciate y'all as well. Check your comment out. You gotta copy and paste it. Copy and paste it. I'm just playing. I'll go back. I'll scroll back up. All right, here we go. So without you, no one else exists. Absolutely right. Without you, nobody exists. All right, Alex, I had something happen where SP was on video, which is BD. Does that mean baby daddy? Or does that mean bad? And I assumed hickeys on his neck, but I changed that to skin problems. And that's not the version I want anyway. I have my version. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Baby daddy, gotcha. Exactly. Yeah. What, you want me to confirm your story? I can't confirm your story. You already told the story, right? That's the truth. You just know it. Don't try to know it. Don't try to get my perspective to confirm your story. Just know it. Just accept it. Right? That's the truth. You already said it. It's done. You got it. The only thing that matters is that you changed it, right? We all crash out. But you changed it. And that's fine. You caught yourself, you changed it. That's all that matters because you are absolutely perfect right now. Right now. I'm losing faith in my manifestation. SP is nowhere to be seen. What do? You're never losing faith. You always have absolute faith in something. You can either choose to have faith in your fear, faith in your feelings, faith in your doubts, or you can have faith in I am. Remember, the moment you make the decision, it was done. When you said, I have them, this is how they show up, it is done. That's it. Now, stay committed to that story. You can either stay committed to that story because you feel a little bit of fear or doubt or whatever. Now you can serve that, but you can't serve two masters. You can feel fear. You can feel doubts, but you can't serve them and serve faith at the same time. You have to pick one, right? Guys, remember, and like I say, right, we talk about losing faith. Y'all talk about losing faith in somebody out there as if that person actually exists. That SP doesn't even exist. They're just a fragment of you. If you truly loved the version of your SP that you wanted, how could you lose faith in them? If you truly loved the version that you wanted, how could you lose faith in what you really loved? This is what we do as humans. We say things like, oh, I used to love them, but I don't love them anymore. Well, it's a very conditional human way to think. But source love is unconditional. Make a decision of who you are and how you are treated. Keep your consciousness on you. Maybe stop making it about them even. Make it about the love that you receive from the world and everybody. Put your focus and your consciousness purely on how you experience love from everybody. How everybody always shows up for you, always adores you. How could you get tired of that? How could you lose faith in that knowing? Or really think about this, y'all. Of course I'll lose faith. Of course I'll start to lose hope if I'm out there trying to change some shit. But if I'm out there struggling against reality, trying to change things, I'm doing it from lack anyway, right? I see something I don't like in them and I'm trying to change it and wrestle with it and control it. That's pure lack. But how could I ever lose faith? How could I lose hope? How could I stop desiring to be treated beautifully? Think about that. If you make the assumption right now that you are treated beautifully, at the moment somebody walks in your life, they're in love. They can't go without you. If you told them to get on all fours and bark like a dog, they'd do it. And they'd say, yes, daddy. Because that's how special you are. How would you get tired of that? Just me thinking about that shit right now almost made me smile. So what are you making it about? Are you making it about changing that person so you can actually be fulfilled? Of course you're going to be tired. That sounds like a lot of work, trying to go out there and change somebody. But changing yourself so that the world shows up to you better, changing your story of yourself so the world shows up to you beautifully, brilliantly, divinely, so everybody worships you. I'm not going to get tired of that. Y'all should see the way women treat me in my life. Think I'm going to get tired of that? No. I just rest in the knowing of who I am, and all those things can be added to me. All right? Yeah, girl, just focus on you. It was already promised you, right? I'm telling y'all, man, like where most of the magic comes into play. This is why if y'all have worked with me one-on-one, you already know what I'm going to start telling y'all about y'all's SPs. When you start making it about you, when you stop treating your SP like God, you wake up in the morning and you affirm to them like they're God. Instead of saying, Lord Jesus, please, you say, my SP loves me. My SP loves me. You send them all of your hopes and prayers. Then before you go to sleep, instead of getting on your knees and praying to God and Jesus up there in the sky, you start visualizing and affirming for your SP again, sending them all of your prayers, all of your love. Instead of making it about you, you make them your God, right? Thou shalt have no false idols. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no false idols besides me. It's really ridiculous to put other people on a pedestal when in your reality, they don't even exist. Your SP is not even a real person in your reality. They're just a fragment of you reflecting your concept of self, reflecting how you feel about yourself. Let me say it even more clearly. Not about how you feel about yourself, reflecting the story that you tell, the identity that you have taken about yourself. They don't exist. They're not real. If everybody in your reality is real, you would have no free will. Free will would not exist if everybody in your reality were real and walking around with full consciousness. In your reality, you are the only one with full consciousness. You're it. It's just you. It is just you. And so the more that you make it about them, you're assuming that that person is solid and rigid and real, when really the only reason that they are special is because you're telling the story that they're special. If right now you got amnesia, you got hit over the head, which some of you, it might do y'all some good to get hit over the head when it comes to your SP. If you got hit over the head and you forgot everything about your SP, they would be meaningless to you. Some of y'all might even be turned off when you saw them. You'd be like, ugh, who are you? Why are you in my hospital room? Creep. Some of y'all would look like that. But why are they so special? They're so special because of the story that you tell about them. You're the one that looks at them and says that you're beautiful, you're perfect, I love you so much, you're so divine. Right? Some of y'all are like, hell no. No, Alex. It's that thing. It's that thing he got. It's that vibranium he got that's driving you crazy. But even that, you can assume that in somebody else. What makes you think the way that you are loving this person? What makes you think if you didn't pour that love into yourself, what makes you think that somebody 2 times better couldn't step forward in your reality? What makes you think you couldn't get a woman that was way finer, that treated you better, that looked better, that cooked better, did all them nasty ass things that you would never tell your homeboys you like, that she does for you? What makes you think somebody else won't show up that does that as well? Ladies, what makes you think a man won't show up that's more attractive, harder, lasts longer, does all them nasty ass things you like? What makes you think you can't get that in somebody else? Pure lack. Pure lack. Somebody, the same way that this person walked into your life and blew your mind, somebody else, 10 other people, 20, 100 other people could walk in your life tomorrow and blow your mind. Today, tonight, and blow your mind. But you keep making it about them when it's never been about them. It's always been about you. Always. It has always been about you. The only reason someone hasn't shown up better than them is because you're assuming that that's as good as you can get. I know, y'all. Open y'all's minds to what I'm saying. The only reason somebody hasn't come into your life and made you forget about them is because you refuse to accept that there could be somebody better. The only reason you've been sitting around manifesting the same person for 9 months, 8 months, 13 months, y'all starting to give me manifestation times like baby years. Instead of you saying, oh, my child's 15 months old, you're saying, oh, I've been manifesting my SP for 15 months. Like, God damn, how long is that? 12, 20? A year and 3 months? Why don't you just say that shit? Well, it's because on my calendar, I mark off the days and they got to 15 months. The only reason that somebody else hasn't shown up better is because you refuse to believe. You're making this person God. You're making this person God. Yeah, there is a better person of them too. But this is what I'm saying, is you refuse to believe there's somebody else that's better than the better version of them. This is what I'm saying, right? Hear me how you're arguing. Hear me how you're holding on to this. Yes, there's infinite versions of them, but guess what? There's infinite versions of everybody. There's not a shortage. There's infinite versions of everybody. There's infinite SPs out there. There's infinite people that would infinitely love your ass. Do you get what I'm saying? What I'm saying is when you start to put your focus on yourself and you start to expand your mind to the possibilities of life, do you think you could never be more physically attracted to anybody than that SP? Do you think nobody could treat you better? They're not even with you right now. What? Think about this, y'all. Really think about this. Do you think nobody could treat you better? You don't think you could love somebody more that showed up for you differently? I'm not saying this because you have to move on. I'm simply opening up your mind that when you start looking at the world as your playground, not this person as your playground, but the world as your playground. Now you can just say, may the best man win, may the best woman win. I can get infinite versions of anybody. Now you can actually have fun and enjoy your life. You don't have to sit around and affirm for this single person all day. You can actually put your focus on yourself and you can actually make a decision on what do you actually want fully in the relationship. Some of y'all, we've had this conversation where I've talked y'all out of your SPs because we found out the only reason you want them is for some get back. You don't even really love them. It's just your ego crying because you ain't never been rejected before. It's you refusing to accept the possibility that those other people out there could love you better. I know it's a little different pace, right? I'm not saying that you can't get that person. I'm not saying that there aren't infinite versions of that person. But what I am saying is you can open your mind to some different possibilities. You can open your mind to some different possibilities. And even that, when you start opening your mind to different possibilities, the interesting thing is that you naturally stop making it about them, which actually pulls them in quicker, because now your energy and focus is back on you in the knowing that you are the source. When you make it too much about somebody, really think about this, all right? This will tell you where you are on this SP manifestation journey. If you're really making it about somebody else too much, okay? How comfortable would you be right now if they were to come back, but then you were to get into an argument and they were like, "Man, I knew I shouldn't have fucking talked to your ass again." Would your heart drop into your fucking ass as you sat there and was like, what affirmation should I do now to get them back? Or would you actually be able to sit and relax in your power and know that, nah, we'll be all right. You'll get over this. You'll apologize for saying that bullshit to me. Who would you be? Would you even be a good person if that person showed up? Would you actually even be able to talk about anything with them without being fearful that tomorrow they could ghost you again? Where are you on this journey? Have you thought about that? Something to think about. What other questions y'all got? I don't mean to beat y'all up about y'all SPs all night. I know it's a sensitive subject. We all love a good SP. Does that have to do with lack of self-worth? I think it has to do with, it can be due to a lot of different things. I think one of them for sure is a lack of self-worth, or just a lack of focusing on yourself, making the story about you, right? It is constantly looking outside of you and thinking that when this person shows up, then I can finally be happy. When this person shows up, now I can finally feel love. I can finally sleep at night. I can finally, here's another one. I've heard this one before too. If this person comes back, then I'll actually know that manifestation works and God is real. What the hell? What the hell? That's a lot. You're putting your belief in source on this person coming back in your life. Hold up now, y'all. Come on now. Like, this is when we have to pull you up out of that. Pull you up out of that mindset, right? Because you're not doing this for the right reason. That's lack. That's too much. That's too much, right? So that's why this journey is about confronting yourself. This journey is about recognizing the stories that you are telling. It's about recognizing the weight that you are putting on things outside of you. When we make things conditional like that, guys, anytime you're making it conditional, you're really saying that you're not this person. Right? If I make it conditional, okay, I'll be happy if this person shows up. Well, I'm just not happy, and I can't get that person from there. You can't get them from lack. You can't get somebody from a conditional way, right? Because what I'm doing when I make it conditional, okay, when I say if you come back, then all of a sudden everything is working out and I'll be fine and fulfilled. What I'm really saying is if reality shows me something, then I am who I say I am. So I'm constantly looking out to reality saying, show me it, prove it to me. From that perspective, I'm waiting on reality to show me something. Reality is waiting on me to commit. So we're both just looking. Hey, you show me. And reality's not like, yo, you show me. And I'm like, reality, no, you show me. And reality's like, no, you show me. All right? So really, I'm saying I am not. And because I'm saying I am not, reality has to give me the thing that proves to me I am not. which means I don't get that thing. I just stay in the same situation. You feel what I'm saying? This is such a paradox. This is why the best thing that you can do is take your focus off the external world and keep it on you. And remember that you are already that person. And it has to be unconditional. It has to be to a point where I am so that person that I no longer, it's not that you don't care, right? You still desire what you desire. But I'm focused so much on me already being that person that I don't, quote unquote, need it to show up out there. That is where people get caught up. Because needing does not mean there's an absence of desire. Not needing does not mean that there is an absence of desire. Okay? Not needing simply means I rest in the knowing that I am the fulfillment. That is the paradox. I'm unconditionally it, whether I see it out there or not. Now it can show up because I am truly being it. That's such a mind fuck, I know. It's such a mind fuck. But that is where your power is. Your power is when you say, man, fuck reality. I don't care. I'm already that person because I say so. And you put your mind on yourself, and now reality must bend. Exactly. Like that's, it's like if you, man, that's where it clicks for everybody. Is that unconditional acceptance that I'm already it. It's unconditional acceptance of who I am. That is the clicking. That's the, that's what it is, right? It's the, I am successful, even though this situation looks like shit, I'm still successful. And even if I imagine the worst case scenario, I say, even if that happened, I'm still successful. It's beyond logic. It's the ability to say, the rent is paid, even if I'm evicted. Even if my mind goes to I'm evicted. I'm going to say, okay, even if I was evicted, the rent's paid. It's paid and I'm not evicted. It's that amount of acceptance of who I am that reality says, okay, of course you can get what you want because you are that person. But when I'm peeking out there and I say, you have to prove to me that I'm it, reality says, no, you have to prove to me that you're it. Because reality is just you. So y'all are both looking at each other like, hey, you going to change soon? And both of y'all are saying no, because you haven't changed. You get that? It's like looking in the mirror, having a big ass mustard stain on your shirt and waiting for the reflection to change shirts. You're like, you change. And the reflection is like, no, you change. Y'all are both just standing there and nothing changes. Nothing changes because you don't change. You have to get away from the mirror, focus on your damn self, go change your shirt. And then when you walk back and you finally open up your eyes in the mirror, now you're in a different reality. Right? See how you keep going back to the hickeys? I thought it wasn't hickeys. I thought it wasn't fucking hickeys. But now you're saying it is hickeys. Make up your mind. Which one is it? Which one is it, man? First of all, goddess. First of all, I just thought about something, but I ain't gonna say it because people might judge me for saying it. I ain't never had a visible hickey on me. I ain't never had a visible hickey on me. I ain't never had a visible hickey. What just so I'm clear, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. What other questions y'all got? Everybody get their notepad out. Get your pen and paper out. Here.
Okay.
What's up, brother? How you doing? Lucas, you hear me? Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. Test.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm blessed. It's a good day.
Okay, now let's talk. Ego and desires. It's an interesting topic because at the beginning you said, why can't you open your mind to that you can get maybe as a big topic that you can get another person that's better or look better, right?
Yeah.
It's your ego, right? That says that's so conditioned to this one person. But
Peace,
also
bro.
we talk about, your desires come from source. So source wants it to experience fury, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting because what is really ego and what's desire, right? Because even if you talk about, I want that this person does errand for me or shows up like X, Y, Z, it can be also perceived as ego, but it's also okay that you want what you want.
Yeah.
So it's really a small way, right? What is it really ego or is it does that desire? My answer is, the ego is only the needing the validation part outside of you, right?
Yeah.
It's not that you want this specific person or how your boss behaves or your friend behaves or this car or this money. Because, man, you can perceive everything as ego, right? But that's not the point.
Yeah.
For me, the ego is more like the validation outside of right, to the outside world instead of your internal world. Because even if you talk about this attachment and detachment point, if you talk about everything is one, like I am everything
Mm-hmm.
and you are everything, so how can you make it about another person when you're everything? Isn't it also a story in a way?
Yeah.
When you're everything, because you do it, I guess, even it seems that it's another person or whatever,
Yeah.
it's still you,
Exactly. It's you. The whole thing is you, right? And I want to answer that before I do, because it's gonna be a perfect setup for that. This comment, bro. Read this guy. I have an answer for this comment, but I want to see what you say about it. So the comment is, SP told me he could call me at 11 p.m. tonight. I am too scared to talk to, quote unquote, this version of SP. What do you think about that?
Okay, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
You're telling a story, right?
Yeah.
You perceive a past, and you're not scared that can happen again, so it's a story. So you expect that. Of course, from my point of view, it's your ego, right? Your ego is logical and attached to the past.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the key is here to acknowledge it, but don't identify with it. And if you want to, then see the idol version of him,
Facts.
right? Even if it feels challenging or whatever, it's your ego with feelings and thoughts coming, but it's not a problem. It's always a choice. The great thing is, let's see the good things. You acknowledge it now, right? You write it as the comment, so now you have the shot. Now there's the opportunity to change it or disidentify with it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, telling the story, even no matter, we don't think about the future that's already now, but even if something happens, but we don't expect it, okay, then we're telling still the story and ending of course perfectly, right?
Facts. I like, who is telling you that the old version of them is gonna show up? Who is the one that is telling that story? That this version of them is gonna show up. You're already talking about it like this version is going to show up when you don't know that. Well, now you do know it because you're telling that story. You're telling the story from the knowing that you're going to get the version that you don't want, which is keeping the version that you don't want there. Flow with it. You've already decided who you want. So accept that version of them with love and stop casting that version of them into the future. You're already saying right now, I'm going to talk to them in the future and it's going to be the version I don't want. Why is there separation? Why is there separation from who you are right now and who they are right now and the version that you want? Why? Who's creating that? Who is telling that story? It's just you. So, yeah. But even like you were asking, man, about the ego and like you said, right? The ego is always going to want validation. You don't really want that person, right? Oftentimes when we're manifesting these specific people, we don't want them. We want the version of ourselves that we would be with them, right? They might do things that you like and tickle your private parts in ways that are interesting and fun. But the truth is that you simply want them because there's a version of you attached to them. But you can accept that you are that version of them right now. You can get infinite versions of all of these people. There's so many different versions of people that you can attract into your life simply by standing in the knowing of who you are. And when you stand in that knowing, you allow all of those things to come to you, all these different people to come to you. But yeah, the ego is always going to be searching for something outside of itself. That's why you have to stay committed and know who you are and remind yourself that, no, I already have it. I already am everything that I seek.
Yeah, of course, I get it, but it's also, right, it can be a great experience, a human experience, to have the story, like, sticking together or whatever with this one person. Why not, right? Everyone has different desires, so.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Mr. Android. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, everybody does have to. So, let's see here. Matter of fact, I think there was another question I wanted you to answer.
Okay.
You see that question from Jessica?
Jessica, wait. Jessica, if I'm choosing him but he doesn't show up, is it posting with her what to do? This one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, from my perspective, now you base identity from the external world. So
Yep.
you're looking into the mirror and say, prove me that I'm this person.
Exactly.
So it's more about your inner self, right? So don't focus on the outside what happened, because then you're not this person anymore. But who do you say that you are, right?
Yeah.
Who do you choose to be? And this version. So there's nothing to do, only to choose. What to choose is the right question in this case.
Yeah.
What to choose. Choose to see him in your desired version and know that from this standpoint, right now, everything unfolds perfectly for you, right? And stick to this knowing or to this story, right? So knowing for me is not convince your ego, it's commitment to the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, turn it inward, and choose or remember.
Facts. And by the way, Lucas, Travelcation Club, Miss Arena, she said, "Hey, Lucas, DM me your number. I wanna talk to you."
Yeah, of course.
I'm about to play matchmaker up here. She said, "So, I got you, Miss Arena. I got you, girl. I got you." But no, I agree with you saying, right? Like, we have to. It's identity first, circumstance second, right? So the moment that we decide that we are this person, all right? So even going to that specific example, you have decided that you are the person that this other person wants. And you have decided that they show up for you in a certain way. Okay, if that is your decision, stand on it. Stand in that decision. And that decision has to be unconditional. So even if you see the external world showing you differently, even if your feelings are telling a different story, You have to stand in the truth. Your identity is first, circumstance is second. But the moment that I say things like, yeah, I've chosen this version of them, but I see that. And so now I need to do something to get what I want. Well, I'm making it conditional. I'm saying I'm not the person that I need to be to get it unless or until I do something out there, until I react a certain way, until I affirm a certain way, visualize a certain way, when the truth is you already have it. Simply choose to stay in the knowing of who you are through all of it. But so even that, Jessica, right? You're listen to the story. Y'all will be able to see what reality is giving you simply by studying the story that you're telling, right? So right now you're telling the story. You're saying choosing him on the inside. I already did, decided he's mine, but nothing's changing. Why is nothing changing? Because that's what you're saying right now, right? You're saying that it's no different than somebody being like, Alex, I've been affirming the right way and visualizing and nothing has changed. Well, what identity are you affirming that you are right now? You are affirming that right now I am somebody who is doing these things, but nothing is changing. So reality says, yes, my love, I will give you exactly who you are being. Remember, Source, God, I am, is above your feelings. Source only seeks to unconditionally love you and support you in reflecting who you are being in every moment. So right now, it doesn't matter what you've been doing for 10 months, 9 months, 8 years. Who are you being right now? And if right now you're being a person that's telling me that I've been doing something but nothing's changing, first of all, the first thing that we talked about was basing who you are on the external world. So you're saying, I need the external world to show me that I am this person. But the external world is looking at you and waiting for you to show it that you are this person. So now y'all are just looking at each other. And then nothing changes out there because it can't, because you're waiting on it to change. And now you say what? You say, well, nothing is changing. So you're double dipping in the identity that you don't want. You have to put your focus on you and knowing that you are who you say you are. Now reality can change. Until then, you and reality are just going to be having a stare off. You're looking in the mirror waiting for it to change. And then you're affirming that it's not changing because that is the identity that you're picking up. And I can guarantee if right now you're saying nothing's changed, it's not the first time you said that. You were saying it last week, probably saying it the week before then. So you've been in this identity for a while. And as long as you are in that identity, nothing can change because it's just reality is a perfect reflection of your identity. See, because it's been a year, it still hasn't changed, right? That's the thing. Is you continue to go back to that same story, right? It's been a year. How long have you been saying it's a year? I bet you've been saying it at 6 months. I bet you were saying it at a month. I bet you were saying it at 2 months, right? You've been holding the identity of somebody that's been doing things and nothing is changing. And reality has been unconditionally and perfectly reflecting who you are. Reality is just your report card, y'all. It's always going to be telling you what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad, got a little passionate. Got a little.
Detachment, attachment, right?
Yeah.
Is there really a problem with? I thought about it a little bit. Attachment or detachment in general, or is it more the detachment and I am not?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I don't think there's a problem with attachment or detachment in general at all, right? You want your desires because Source wants it through you. That's a natural thing. But there's this attachment to how things have to look this way for it to be working. It has to look this way for me to be that person, or else I am not that person, right? So I guess I would say the same thing you said. I would just say it in a different way. I would say because we're waiting on the external world to change, and we can't be who we say we are until we see that change, we're just constantly sitting and we're attached to saying I am not until something changes out there, when it's just a backwards way of doing things.
Yeah, these are the three points, I guess.
Yeah.
Feelings, thoughts, and the 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Great point. Great point, right? The feelings, we get attached to how we feel, all right? So if I don't feel good, I must not be it. Then we get attached to the thoughts, right? The wandering thoughts. We get attached to that 3D and how it looks. Absolutely, man. You did say it was feelings, thoughts, and emotions, you said? Or feelings, thoughts, and 3D?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
This feeling sports and 3D. It's like the most quote unquote difficult ones to overcome. To allow yourself to be this person or to detach or to disidentify with I feel that nothing's happening or I feel blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I have this gut feeling, right?
Right. Yeah. It's detaching from that for sure. Because I think those are the like you said, all three of those are difficult to get over, right? The feelings, the thoughts, the 3D. But the thing about them is we put so much emphasis on those things when none of those things matter. All of those things they're just reflections of who we are anyway. Not even reflections, they're just things that pass by and are constantly changing to kind of reflect how we've thought or how we've been in a past situation. They have nothing to do with who we are right now.
Yeah, what are these emotions? I come to the conclusion that only interpretation of the outside or how you perceive your thoughts, right? For example, I don't know, you message someone and you don't get a reply, right? So some people will feel sad because they perceive it bad, right? I have a story, or they don't like me, I'm chosen, blah blah blah, maybe cheat, it depends, right? And some people are confident, right? They don't have a bad feeling because they know maybe they enjoy their time and they have different stories. So your emotion is only the old interpretation, I want to say old interpretation, right? Old interpretation of what's happening inside or outside, I guess.
Yeah. 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 The interpretations of what's happening on the inside. Well, keep going, bro. Keep going.
You know, I mean, the old one, it doesn't mean now I have to force another feeling, but, you know, as I said in this example, those two people have two different emotions. Well, because of the interpretation, so there's no universal situation to have that everyone has the same feeling with this XYZ situation when this happens. He doesn't reply or she doesn't reply, right? So it's really your interpretation, how you perceive it, or your ego perceive it. Your ego.
Yeah. Cause like we interpret our feelings, but your feelings are simply a gut response or a response to a certain situation, and the situation isn't real anyway. The situation is just an empty vessel that's waiting for you to make up a story about it. So following your ego following your feelings just keeps you trapped in the same situations, reacting to ghosts, jumping at ghosts, right? And if you just constantly, fall in the trap of just identifying with them and getting attached to them and telling that same story, well, things can't change. But you can tell a different story. You can just use your feelings as triggers to tell a different story.
Yeah, or I thought sometimes, maybe it's all the story, if I'm honest. But sometimes I thought maybe it's also a feedback system, like, man, okay, now comes the story in like the bad emotions are bad and the good emotions are good. And like, the good emotion means that now it's a story, man, but like, oh no, let's say it this way, let's put it this way. If you feel bad, it's like a sign, like a feedback system to go back to your true self.
Yeah. That's it.
Like it's like
That's it.
a guidance for you, like, alarm, no, remember who you are, it's a lie, this is why you feel bad.
Exactly.
But I don't know, maybe it's story.
I think, it's all a guidance system, right? It's all a guidance system. Your feelings are just pointing you to how you used to think. It's like, okay, wake up. Be aware right now. You have fear, that means wake your ass up. Be aware what's going on. What story do you want to tell moving forward, right? If we actually paid attention to these things instead of running from them and suppressing them and just accepting whatever story came from them, shoot, life gets better.
Yeah, I saw a comment.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, I understand what you're saying. It's just that it's hard to stick to the story without seeing signs. But I want to say one sentence, and then if you want,
Go
it's
ahead.
your turn because you're better.
That's a story, but go ahead.
It's not. No, it might. English is not my mother language.
You set that one up, but okay.
Yeah, I would say it's also a story, right? To say it's hard. It's also a story. It's my consent.
Exactly. That's it. It's a story that says, it's a story to say it's difficult to know without seeing signs, right? And so what sign is it that you are looking for anyway? You're looking for some specific thing to come slap you across the face and say everything is going on, everything is going right. You are the sign. You are the one that makes the decision on if it's working out or not. Let's be very, very blunt. Let's be very, very clear with one another here, right? You think you're looking for a sign, but nothing will convince you unless you make the choice to be convinced. There is nothing that will convince you until you choose to be convinced. You're not waiting for anything out there anyway. You can say that you are. It sounds really good to say that, but you're not waiting on anything. You're just looking for an excuse to make a choice. But the choice is looking you in the face right now. When you decide that you are the sign, reality says yes. And until you decide that, let's be very, very honest. There's nothing out there that will convince you that this is working. How many success stories have y'all read about manifestation? That still hasn't convinced you because nothing out there will convince you. You can go on Reddit all day. You can listen to YouTube all day. You can be on TikTok and Instagram all day. Nothing will convince you until you make the decision. We're just outsourcing our power. We're hiding our doubt and we're trying to call our doubt discernment. We're like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It would be, if it looked like this, it would be better. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. You just have to make the choice. And when you make the choice, reality will give you every reason to stay in that knowing. That's it. But you have to make that choice. This is a story that we're telling that is difficult. It's not difficult to say that you have what you want. I just said it. You have what you want. You are already everything that you desire to be. That's not difficult. That is easy. You can do that. Now, when you walk through life, how often can you remember this? You can make the choice that everything is working out for you, y'all. You have the power to do it. And the more that we sit around and we tell these stories about how the world has to do this, and we need to see this, and we need to see signs, what kind of sign are you waiting for? Most of y'all, you know what I'm saying? If you woke up and Jesus Christ himself was looking over you on the bed and said, hey, wake up. Your manifestation's on the way. Y'all would call the police on him. You would call the police on him. He said he was this, but this strange man, yeah. You're not waiting on a sign out there. You simply need to make a choice that it's already yours. Okay? Make the choice. Yeah.
Yes.
This, my bad. Go ahead.
I want to say, I love movies example in general, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't saw how my favorite movie was made, right? I didn't saw it in front of my eyes, but it happened anyway, right? At some point there was a trailer or the movie was out, but I didn't saw it. Maybe after the movie came out, I saw the behind the scenes stuff, right?
Yeah.
But not like in real time, quote unquote. But it happened anyway, right? Even if I didn't saw it,
Yeah.
I saw it this time, right?
I like the example you gave on the coffee machine too. You're like, I don't know how the coffee machine works, but the coffee still comes out, right? It's like, yeah, you're right. Right? We don't know how the car works. We get in, we know that if we turn the key, It'll open up. This is the same way this. You don't have to. We act like we need the entire blueprints for this, but you'll get in your car and you'll go drive down that dangerous ass freeway with no second thought, even though you ain't had an oil change in God knows how long. But when it comes to this, right, all of a sudden it's, well, I need to know everything. I need to have signs. I need to know this. You simply need to choose to stay committed and faithful to what you want. That's it. Only law.
Yeah, and also, isn't it also more exhausting? You know, you have always two options, maybe more, but two main options, like complain
Yeah.
or stick to a story or trust, right? But even if you feel bad, right? Okay, that's not a problem. It's only a story about really. But okay, imagine you feel bad, right? And then you complain, man, you will feel worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
More worse and more worse because you complain. So it's a little trap.
Exactly. What fact? I'm finna bring my dog Austin up at the same time. Can I do two at a time? I'm gonna bring Austin up at the same.
You can do everything, huh?
Yeah, y'all think the same, man. I ain't seen Austin on here in a minute. Oh, he's already gone. All right, never mind.
So yeah, so it's really, I like what you said, right? It's never about the telling news story because it's easy. I can say I'm a pink elephant. Man, this was easy as fuck right now, right?
Yeah.
But really, we have to think it this way, to see it this way, or I like to see it this way. Really, the ego is the part of the logic part who always wants to understand everything and looks for signs and proof and right. It's the job from the ego.
Yeah.
But it's a part of you, of course, but it's not who you truly are. The only thing is you pretend to be this ego. It's the only thing you can perceive in this moment because you identify with it. So if you can disidentify with it and can see it, how it is, that's not the universal truth. Only your ego who doesn't know it better, like a little kid, doesn't have this life experience. And it's a great thing because otherwise it would be so boring, right? The journey of not knowing yourself, you know? Man, I remember how cool it was to find out, hey, there's more in life, you know, there's more in life than how I knew it, right?
Yeah. There you go. Austin, what's good, brother? I haven't seen you in a minute, man.
Yeah, that stuff's happened.
You been all right?
Yeah, I'm pretty good actually.
Good.
How are you?
I'm always blessed, bro. Always blessed. Lucas, ask that question one more time. I want to get Austin's perspective on it, if you don't mind.
Do you mean me?
Yeah.
Which question?
You were just asking a question about the ego, right?
Oh, no, this wasn't a question. This was only my viewpoint of the ego.
Gotcha.
Or do you mean at the beginning?
Yeah.
No.
You don't right? Shit, damn, man. I don't remember either.
I don't remember. Just already now, I don't remember.
All right.
You can ask a question if you know it, then of course.
All right, I'm gonna find another question though, because I want to get both of y'all's perspectives on some things. Because both of y'all have a beautiful way of saying things that is very different than me. If you don't mind.
Yeah, Jeffy.
I'll go ahead.
That's only the present moment, right? Hey, really, I thought sometimes about it, right? The present moment, man. If you really can immerse yourself in the present moment, you feel automatically more peace and there's no bad story anymore. Or even if, then it's more a background noise than the main act instead of the main act, right? It's more like, yeah, whatever, right? You're more indifference to this little blah, 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 blah voice. And really, there's only now, and who is there really a proof that there is the past or a future, you know? Because even you expect, you know, if I go to a person and ask, did it happen yesterday? XYZ, I don't know. Did it happen yesterday, right? Then I also expect it in a way that they validated it happened yesterday, right? So maybe only they.
Did you cut out?
That's the only reason why they remember this, right? Because there are also stories that people forget the past or tell a different story of the past. You know, it happened
Yeah.
different than quote unquote how it really was. Quote unquote, you know?
Yeah,
Big
exactly.
quote unquote. So it's a really, we don't know it. There's only your ego, like, because then it only with the past and future, quote unquote, it makes sense to have this human experience, right? To have this linear perspective. But really, everything is now.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's also making about you with the present moment now. Why not? You want desire, great. So you want, if you have it, you want to enjoy the present moment, right? You want desires to enjoy the present moment of life, to enjoy fullness of life, right? But how can you do it if you're not able or not learn to be present? Imagine you have your XP, you have your money, and you're still stuck in your head, in your story, and you're too busy to fight against your thoughts and emotions. How can you really enjoy fullness of life with your SP, with your money, with your job? How can you do it?
100%. 100%. I yield the floor to Austin, though.
Yeah, talking about the past, like, there's like a statistic about people who basically humans can't recall the past exactly as events had been documented or occurred. But going with that too, it's like that just further proves that we all have our own perspective. So it's like there's not one truth to anything, and that's why you can't really recount or recall the past, because if you recall it from your perspective, it's not going to be the same as someone else's perspective. It's not just their opinion, but it's like what their eyes saw, what their ears heard, you know, from the trajectory of the range of anything that's going on. Like you're never going to see. It's like when somebody's pointing out like the sunlight and a reflection, and it's like I don't see that, and you literally move 2 feet to the left, and you can see exactly what they see.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, if they were like, "You remember that sweet sunset in the window?" You're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know?
Exactly. Exactly. We could go all out. Everybody here on this call, we could go sit out at dinner together, and if we asked everybody what they experienced the next day, hell, even at the end of the night or definitely a week later, we would all have absolutely different accountings of that same story. The human memory is very, very fragile.
Well, yeah, I think the thing is too is like there may be central reference points for people to be like, "Oh yeah, I remember when this event happened," or
Yeah.
you know, like somebody came out and they had their birthday saying when they were sitting on the horse. You know, like there's like that general reference point of you know perspective. But when it comes down to the way that we think about things, we interpret them, and that's why it's so easy to upset people. But it's like that's one of the things too that I really want to go in here and talk about is that you know once you realize that you're the only person upsetting yourself, you start to wonder why the fuck you keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Facts.
it's like you know, because it's like I don't, you know, nobody's ever out to hurt you for real. You know, I mean, even if you see a side of somebody that you don't really appreciate, but you know, you got to reflect on why maybe you're seeing that. But like when you think about circumstances unfavorably, it's like, damn, like this person, this event, this person, this thing is not actually trying to hurt me. Like, so why am I thinking, like, whenever I think about this thing, like, why is it hurting me? And it's like, oh shit, I'm doing that to myself, because even you know, if you ain't seen a specific person for a long time or something like that, it's like they wouldn't fucking want to hurt me. That was never even the fucking point in the first place.
Exactly.
But every time I think about it, it's like I got this fucking emotion like tied to it, like, oh, that hurts, and I'm like, dude, like I'm the only person doing that to myself.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard to like maintain a specific state, but you don't really realize that you're the only one in that state. You know, like that's why things ever became the way they were in the first place, is because you were holding that state, and like you were saying before, and I 100% agree. Like, and it's basically was with what Lucas was just saying too. Like, you're gonna be present when you have the things that you desire, right? That's what you'd ideally think, but that's the real problem. is that you're not, because you think these things are gonna make you feel good or happy. And but if you've already been through like an experience with like an ex or something like that, you really look back on it and you're like, well, how did I fuck up? And it's like, it's because I was never present. I was never really happy, regardless of whether I was in this relationship with this person or not. So yeah, I can see why I started acting the way that I did and maybe sabotage things in my own right. But it wasn't because of that person. It was because I was not satisfied with who I am or what I think I should be at the time, or just really appreciating like who I am regardless of what's going on. Those feelings of like doubt or insecurity. It's a really big sabotage for a lot of relationships, and it's like you look back on it and you're like, oh, this hurts, and it's like, no, you were already being that person even before you got with X or Y or Z. It just manifested in that relationship eventually because you were good enough at holding some identity and you were playing it off like you really loved yourself, but really you just loved the way that you felt at the time. And it's always going to collapse on you if you don't really understand that, like, yeah, I have what I want, I deserve what I want in life, but I have to realize like how I would truly be in that moment if these things are true.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not sitting here wondering, I'm not sitting here questioning. I realize that all the feelings or emotions that I have are coming from me. So once again, so why, like, this person isn't in my face being like, fuck you. We might have arguments or whatever it was, but if you really know these people, like, they love you. You're the only one that's seeing yourself unfavorably, so you really give them no fucking choice.
Yeah, dog, preaching. You're absolutely right, right? You really have every experience by yourself. Everything that you experience is an internal experience. Whether it's fear, joy, happiness, it's all an internal experience and it happens right now. You're the only person, like you say, you're the only person that's upsetting you, that is sitting there and is replaying this situation, that cannot dwell in the present moment, that is constantly in the past, constantly in the future, and therefore you can't even appreciate what's going on in your face. That's why it manifests. That's why it has to leave you, because you're not being the person that has it even when it's in front of you. So a lot of these times, like you said, when people are trying to get these SPs back, well, you didn't even have them when they were there. You were constantly embodying or being the person that did not have them because you weren't even in the present moment. And so now you're trying to manifest them back by not being in the present moment even more. So you just continue to get more of the same instead of actually being the person that actually has them. All right, so that's the paradox, is when you enjoy this moment, when you understand that this moment, like when you deeply accept and understand that you only have this moment, you could only live in this moment, boom, that's where the magic happens. But most of us are too busy living in the past or the future that we can't even enjoy the things when we have them, and so they have to go away.
I want to say one sentence because I remember now. I guess Eckhart Tolle has one beautiful sentence. He said, "Relationships shows you only your own unhappiness." Or yeah, something like that. No?
Yeah.
Relationships only shows you your own unhappiness.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really the. Go ahead.
It comes up. Yeah, it comes up. Relationships shows you only your own unhappiness. Yeah.
And that's, it's such a profound statement, right? Because you can only ever experience your own anything. You can only experience your own unhappiness, your own happiness, right? We might perceive people a certain way, but shoot, like Austin said, you're the only person. We're the only person that's upsetting us. We're the only person that is making us upset because of our perspective. That's making us happy because of our perspective. That cannot rest into this present moment because of our perspective. Reality always comes back to us.
Yeah, man. And I want to give one example. So easy. I love how soccer, but I want to call it football, right? Football. I love playing football, right? And sometimes I play football, I'm feeling great. I'm in the present moment. Everything is fine, right? I'm at peace. I'm at bliss, whatever, right? And sometimes I have the same action. I play football, and I feel bad. But the outside thing doesn't change. It's football, right? I do the same thing. I kick the fucking ball into the goal. Nothing changed outside of me, but the experience within me or what I'm doing within myself changed. This is why I experience the outside thing different. Even if it's the same fucking thing. I kick the fucking ball, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. It's always about the white shirt. I know. It's fresh out the pack too. But yeah, it's always about that internal experience. It's always about that internal experience, man. The internal experience is really reality. I can do the same thing over and over and over again. I have a different experience about it because I am the one who's experiencing it. The world is just, it just is. But I am the one that's going through everything. Oh shit. If y'all got questions, man, go on and drop them questions in the chat. So, you can get these two brothers to answer you. 'Cause I'm
So
about to
the
chill
real
for a
question
second.
is,
Oh, go
the
ahead.
real question is, how do I want to experience the situation, right? Because it is what it is. And it was it is. It's here right now. If it's good or bad, the real question is how do I want to experience myself in the situation, right?
Going down in my white tee.
It's fresh out the pack. I opened it up and right before I put it on, man. It's brand new.
Man, I will say too, like what he was just saying about we always choose our perspective, which I mean I think that's clearly what this is all about, and then these things will be added onto you. And just like you were saying, like you never had the relationship when you were in the relationship, and that's why it was taken away from you because those that have will be given more, and those that do not, everything will be taken from them. But once I realized, like for some reason I just had this thought last night, and I'm like, man, like no one. Again, like anytime I feel bad about anything, I'm giving that to myself,
Yeah.
no matter what. And it may be hard to try to discern, like, well, this is happening out here. That means I gotta feel like this. And like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But once you realize that uncomfortable feeling, that emotion that hurts you inside, once you realize that you're the only person doing that to you, like over last night, it really changed me. I'm like, man, like anytime I'm not feeling good, it's my fucking fault. And regardless of like, oh, they said this or this thing happened, like the only person giving me that emotion is myself, even if it's subconscious or even like, we're trained to think bad about this or that, but like it's a lot easier to just turn that feeling off. You don't even gotta like think a different way. You know what I mean? You just realize like, oh shit, I'm doing this to myself. Why am I hurting myself? That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yes, that's so Austin, the way you put it like that, it just makes some sense. My question is, I was asking about the higher self, the true self, and the I am, if it's the same thing. So it's a two-part question, and I did not hear the answer for that one.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
The question is the I am, the true self, and the higher self the same thing?
I'll let y'all answer from y'all's perspective. Because I'm assuming you wanted their answers, right? I'll let y'all go first. I'm finna get some water.
I try from my perspective. It's the I am, the higher self and true self, same thing. It's an interesting question. I think it's the same. For me, it's the same. It's only has maybe different perceptions. You have different interpretation of it. Like true self sounds for me, maybe not maybe it's my story, like more like I don't know, like a spirit guide thing. Or the higher self, like spirit guide thing that wants to guide you. So this means for me that there's something quote unquote outside of me, right? It's how I perceive this world. But for me, everything's the same. There's only I am. Everything's I am. I am that I am. It's the only law, right? I am who I say I am, and what's my story? Oh, it's hard. It's easy. I'm this person. So for me, everything is the same. Yeah. For me, those three things are the same, but maybe perceived different, with different stories about it.
You guys there?
So basically, you're saying that I agree. I think they're the same, right? We can give. So it's just like if you get into theology, right, and you think of the archangels. The interesting thing about the archangels is we perceive these as different beings. When we think of things that are outside of ourselves, we'll give them different attributes, like they're different beings. But if you really break down the names of archangels, right, they all end in AL, right? Like Raphael, Michael. AL means of God, right? So these are just different attributes of the one, right? The light of God, the truth of God, the wisdom of God, whatever the case may be. That is what archangels are. So they're just different perspectives of the whole. That is what we do, is that as humans, we will try to give different perspectives to the oneness of source. We'll just explain different things. We'll start saying the subconscious mind, the superconscious mind. They're just the same. They're just us as humans trying to explain what is beyond our understanding. But the truth is there's only one. There's only unity. There's only oneness, one power, one God, one law, one reality, right? That you are in, one reality, right? There's infinite, but there's really only one that you are God in, right? And so I am, higher self, source, God. These are all things that we use to explain the one power that flows through all of us and connects all of us. There's only one. There's no separation. Y'all know my stance. Anything that implies separation is an illusion.
Okay. Alex, I'm sorry, asking anything?
Yeah. So I think that the higher consciousness is God. Like we're all that one thing. That's the I am, right? But like Alex was saying too, like we all have. It's like one perspective from infinite perspectives. So like we are that one God, that one perspective, and then we all have infinite perspectives based on. I mean, we can talk about humans, but it's even like animals, and you could even get down to the idea of like grass or something like that. Like how does it experience the world because it's alive, right?
Yeah.
But like we have the unique ability, I think, to identify as something that we can psychologically define. I think that's what humans have, like this almost weird shape-shifting ability to become anything that they truly think that they are, even if it's solely in a place where no one else can experience that. But like within their own mind and perspective itself. Like somebody could walk up and be like, I'm fucking Batman, and you'll be like, no, you're not. And it's just like talking to a kid. You can't convince them otherwise.
Yeah. Facts.
But we have the unique ability to define that. So like, yeah, I think we all come from that one higher power, like the I am, that one consciousness, that one awareness. But we also are that I am too, which is our ability to identify as what we choose to. And I mean, that goes as far as saying, people are like furries and shit, and I'll tell them what they can't do that, you know what I mean? But I can't tell them what they are or are not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, that's good. That's really good because I think they're all the same thing. Like Alex explained, we like to separate it, just like Christians do, and they separate the devil, Satan, the Lord versus Jesus Christ versus God. And you could go down a rabbit hole. But the reason I ask that is because when I observe from the perspective of my higher self, there is no lack, there is no need, there is no want for anything in this reality. I can simplify it by like a video game. So you're the person holding the console, playing the game, and the little avatar is in the game, submerged in it. You're not, you, the higher self who has the console playing the game, like you're not feeling, let's say you're playing FIFA and it starts to rain, like you're not feeling the rain coming down or the snow, like you're not in the game. And I think that's where the ego comes in, or that's what the ego is what's submerged into reality. So it has the stories because it knows like what heartbreak feels like, what winning the lottery feels like, or losing blackjack, or like it knows the story because it's submerged in reality. So it has the past. It also can hold from the future based on patterns, or it knows what it wants in this reality because it's submerged higher self is like neutral. It does not have any desire for anything here. Just like how we would think that God needs our worship or our tithes or whatever. But God is God himself. So I just think that's the difference between your higher self and the ego. So whenever I find myself telling the stories, I know that's the ego searching for something because it's been here, submerged in this reality for a long last time. The higher self does not care if this person reaches out to me or not. It doesn't care if I have $1 million in my bank account or not. It's not affected by it. So am I on to something? Like, is it, do you guys resonate with that or, understand what I'm trying to say?
Who wants to be first? I'll go first. So, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, that there's a part of you, but I don't know if I want to call it the ego, because I don't want to give the ego that much power, right? All of you is simply perfect. All of you is simply source. There's just this 1%, this not less than 1%, it's 0.0001% of you that is in reality. I guess you can call that the ego, but that's just the self, right? That is you manifest as the Son of God. That is the Word made flesh, which is you. This is you, the Word made flesh, walking around in this quote unquote human form, and you are the identity of the divine, and you are the one who experiences the manifestation of God, right? As the one that's walking through this physical reality. When I look at the ego is just thoughts. Like, it's not even a real thing. It's not a being at all. It's simply a collection of thoughts that has kept me safe. But it's not anything that I have to identify with as something that has power at all. That's something that makes decisions at all. It just is. It's just this part of my focus or my attention that wants to predict reality. It wants to make it very predictable. But even the me that is going through this reality, that's still all God. That's still all I am, right? And so, do I put my faith? But like you said, so I would still go back to that video game analogy, right? I am, right? Source, the God that's within me, is untouched by anything that's going on. The only thing that it cares about is unconditionally supporting me in whatever I say that I am. In me still being the physically focused part of me that I am, I can still walk through life and lean on that I am and know who I am being throughout it all, right? I would say that the ego is even smaller than considering it the part of me that goes through reality. It's just predictive thoughts that stem from old feelings or old circumstances that I perceived as real as at one point in my life.
I'm confused. Are we talking about the ego in general? Or?
Yeah. So like go ahead, Miss Dusty Pink Dragon. I'll let you explain it. I don't want to impede on your question.
Alright, so I was saying, like, you're playing a video game. My thought, or what helps me, is that my higher self is the one playing the video game. So let's choose a shooting game, right? You holding the console, playing a video game, that's the higher self, or the I am or source, or like what we've agreed on, that you're always holding. And then your little avatar in the game is the ego, because it is submerged in that reality. So when that little avatar thingy dies, like, you don't die here in the real world, like, you're unaffected by it. And so I realized that whenever I'm going through a lot of stuff, like, the ego is the one that's worked up or worried about stuff. Oh, this bill needs to be paid, or this has not been done yet. And it's mostly fear from, like, old stories or patterns that it's developed over the years. And then the higher self, like, my higher self is usually, like, not attached to any of it. Like, it could just exist and not appear. And so I kind of, like, like, really truly ask myself, does it really matter? Does it change anything? Does it change me? or can I change my state of like my mental state right now and just like reflect that part of me that really does not care about what's going on in the reality. And then like the ego is the one that wants to tell the story. It wants to say, oh, if you don't do this, remember what happened last time, this happened, or the fear attached to what could happen. You know, like
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, is that what you guys think the ego is?
Yeah, for me, the ego is, yeah, but maybe I have to start at the beginning because it's really interesting. Because, you know, I understand it, the whole game, but I had this question the whole time. But what is about my childhood, right? Because at this point I was not aware, and I can't. So that I didn't have any beliefs or assumptions, but I still had parents that had assumptions and beliefs, right? That I buy into it. So I had this question at the beginning: how about this part, right? The life, the start, the beginning of my 3D life. So from my perspective, this is also part of the ego. I chose my like a game. Let's say a video game, and I chose the difficulty like easy, hard mode, or whatever. And I chose my quote unquote beliefs and assumption of my parents, right? The difficulty of the game. It's my belief about life. I chose before I came to here to this 3D life. I chose my difficulty of life, but I want to buy into it in my childhood, right? That I can release this and remember who I am, right? And that's also for me part of the ego. And yeah, in general, the ego, yeah, it's just thought patterns. It's also important for me, you know. It's on the logical side, and only because we have the ego, the life makes sense with perceived future and perceived past, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. And also, if I think about some people, they took shrooms or something like this, like this LSD or whatever, and they experience like what it means to be everything and all at once, right? They freak out and maybe they have to go to therapy and like this. They can't handle this feeling or this situation. So for this, in this example, the ego is so important to have this experience, like that we don't freak out. And yeah, it's a game, you know. From my perspective, we are here to have this difficulty. We chose our own beliefs and assumptions, and that's a game that we can wake up, can create our own life, and know ourselves to evolve as consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's so important to have this ego to to have a balance point, you know, because it's boring to be everything and like
Yeah.
like you say it's here now and then it's in front of your face. So to have this cool experience of duality of good and bad, future and past, you know, that's why it's fun, you know.
Agree.
And a bad good example, but sometimes if I have the feeling I want to pee, you know, but I can't at this moment. I have to wait, and then I do it after 10 minutes. So it's the greatest feeling ever, you know. So you can enjoy it more at this moment. That's why it's so important to have this ego, you know. It's so.
Yeah.
We should have this stuff.
So I would ask this question: could you even exist in this reality without it?
No.
Agree.
No, I don't think so.
I was gonna say to your question, I think one of the things that I've realized lately is that the ego is not my friend or my enemy. It's just a part of everything that we are. So like, I think the idea of separating the higher self from the ego might be a fault in itself, because if you're everything, you're all these things, you're everything all at once, and then we talk about the ego like it's some separate entity from ourselves, then it starts like an internal conflict with ourselves, so we need to try to convince this part of us to agree with what our higher self is saying, even though my ego is this defense system, right? Like, yeah, it's a memory bank of avoiding pain and discomfort, but at the same time, who's giving you that pain and discomfort when you think about these things? Who is the one that is making these feelings happen? And it's like, it's easy to point outside of yourself and say, well, this person did this, or my ego is upset about me not getting this position right here, but you're the only person that ever gives yourself these emotions. And once you realize that, it's like, oh fuck, my ego doesn't have to be separate, and I don't have to argue with it, because I am it, just like I am everything that already is. And as far as what my higher self's telling me, like, my ego is that too. I just need to stop treating it like it's separately, because I'm looking at it as if it's giving me feelings that I don't affirm for myself. Like, these feelings don't come from anyone else. The ego doesn't get hurt by anything except for what you remember about a situation and how you interpret it, or your perspective of it. So you're the only one ever hurting yourself. It's really fucked up when you realize it, but that's why it's like, the ego's not there to hurt or harm you. And I mean, you're the only person that decides whether something is safe or not, even when you feel a certain way. Like, there's been plenty of things in your life where you didn't feel comfortable doing it, but you decided it was safe enough for you to do that. You overrode your ego, where you stopped paying so much attention to the bad feeling that you were getting and just started to do what you wanted to do. And that's the exact same thing that's happening all the time. Like, you're always giving yourself a bad feeling about a memory or a thought, but it's not that person, it's not that circumstance, it's you. And even though it's hard to like look at things and objectively decide, well, this is how I define it for me, regardless of what I see outside of me. And that's the truth of what I believe like manifestation is when you stand in the face of something, you're like, no, this looks really fucked up, but if I can make myself feel good, or if I can make myself feel bad, I can make myself feel good. And once I stop looking outside of me as if that's the source of whether I feel good or bad or not, that's when you can start really changing inside of yourself. And that's what all this stuff is. It's like, life's a reflection of you. So if you change internally, you get your ego on board. But like I said, I don't think it's a good idea to look at it like that, because we are that. We are all, like Alex asked, like, you can't exist in this reality without the idea or the identification of an ego. I mean, because even animals that don't think as in depth or context or as in context as us, they still have the reptilian part of the brain. They still have the ego. They're still surviving and instinctually doing things just like we are when we try to defend ourselves from a memory that we think isn't good.
I appreciate that perspective. Facts.
That's a good way to look at it too. I wouldn't say I want to separate it. It's just that everything needs balance in my world. Even my thoughts, like Alex put it, ego is a thought, good thought. In my world, I need balance. If something is going too much to one side, then I kind of have to like recalibrate. So that's just my way of recalibrating. Like, I kind of check in with my higher self. My higher self has everything right now in this reality 1 and 10 years ago. And some of the things it got without panicking or stress or strategy, it just happened. And so whenever the ego tries to take the show over and create this whole movie, I just have to say, hey, this is not what we're gonna do.
But that's you. But that's also you at the same time. It's not like I want to choose these thoughts or anything like that. But when it's like when the ego wants to take over, like, that's still you. That's still who you are. And it's not to say you want to think these bad thoughts, but once you realize that you don't even want to do that, you start to realize that you're doing it to yourself unconsciously. And that's when you can start stopping that pain and being like, oh fuck, like the ego's taking over. It's like, no, actually, like, I feel bad because of the way I'm looking at this situation, even if it's not going my way.
Exactly.
Okay, so sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, so like when we say something like the ego is taking over and it's kind of like contradicting my higher self, like, that's still you giving yourself those experiences. Like, even though it's the ego, like, it's the way my brain wants to interpret the situation, like, that's still you. It's just kind of like this unconscious belief that's going on in your brain that's causing your brain to automatically think these things, because you don't want to think those things, or else you wouldn't be thinking them in the first place, right? Like, That's what the ego is. It's like, oh shit, I'm having all these thoughts I don't want. And it's like, well, they're still coming from you. So there's still this thing inside of you that's like, where you feel comfortable to give yourself like the bad feelings from what the ego is doing. Like when it takes over and it's like it's contradicting everything, like you're looking outside yourself and all this shit doesn't look favorable. Like you're still giving that to yourself. And it might sound really shitty. I'm not trying to sound like that, but like, you know, you're the only person that experiences what the ego does because you are the ego. Regardless, because you know, you could ask 10 different people about whatever your ego's tripping about, and they'll all have different ideas of how it's either good, it's the same as what you think, or it's even worse than what you might be expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that out. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Because I do that too, where I tell a different story from the one I thought I saw, and reality actually conforms to that new version. And as long as I keep that story, whether I say it or think it kind of just stays. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, and it's really like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I think we're agreeing with each in circles. So my question is actually done. I just wanted to like get you guys insight because we don't have a lot of guys out there. It's not a lot of like watering of the garden. I wanted to hear what my perspective is and like you can shed some light on it.
I think like what the talking about it is pretty much how everyone comes to the resolution of like understanding this information. So it's like I have thoughts that are contradictory to what my higher self or what I truly know that I am is having. And everybody gets in this loop where they're like, I can't think like that, or I can't think like that because this makes me feel like shit. But like once I realize that all of these thoughts are coming from myself, it's like, oh, I'm actually choosing these thoughts whether I think that I am or not. And because I'm allowing it to affect me in a way that's, you know, causing me to think like, oh, there's separation between my ego and my higher self. Like I just don't like the way that my ego is trying to paint this picture right here. But once I realize that that's just me doing that to myself, it's like, it doesn't necessarily make, because I don't think you should like dissolve the ego or anything like that. I think a lot of people are really tripping hard in that because, you know, there is consciousness and there's a way we identify. But we kind of let this idea of an ego stop us from identifying as what we want because the ego is based on perception of our senses.
Yep.
I want to add one sentence because we said earlier the ego also can be perceived as just thought patterns. So you can also see it like everything is just an invitation, a potential reality, right? Because your ego can think something, right? Or in general, ego and thoughts, I see that everything is an invitation, right? And you have to feel to choose to accept it or not. So everything is just an invitation from the infinite possibilities that you can experience. Everything is just an experience. And it's, the ego is only our story about it. And of course, that life makes sense, right?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man.
That's all I had.
Appreciate you.
I don't know what I did, but you are welcome. I said I don't know what I did personally, but you're welcome. It's a pleasure talking to you as well.
Oh, no, you guys actually shed some light, which is good. Like Lucas's version, your version, it all makes sense. And so, like, thank you.
We appreciate you. You're welcome.
Okay. Bye.
Peace. I try to answer all the questions for the inbox. Yeah. It depends how long it is, though. No, I'm just playing. No, I try to answer all the inbox questions. If you inbox me a question, I try to answer it. Now, if you start going back and forth, I'm gonna probably leave you after a couple responses. But no, I try to answer the inbox. The ego question is interesting because we do tend to just add separation in so many areas of our life. It's like, I got the ego here, then I got the higher self, then I got God, and then I got Jesus, then I got my pastor, then I got this person. And we become very, very divided when, yeah, you have, 60,000 thoughts a day, but you get to choose what you want to identify with. These things are all just showing up from you. Like, nobody's forcing you to think a certain way. You've thought certain ways, or you're thinking a certain way because you've been through certain things and you're responding or reacting a certain way. Your body has this memory within it. So all of these things show up. You can sit around and we can fight all of our thoughts and create this separation, or we can just begin to choose what we actually want to experience in our inner world, knowing that inner experience is what shapes reality. And what else do you have to do? You either walk around just reacting to everything outside of you and continue to create the life you don't want, or you actually start paying attention to your internal state of being. You actually start being mindful of the things that you identify with, and boom, now reality can follow you. I know I kept y'all hostage up here, man, but I appreciate y'all's jumping on.
No, it's a good time. I will say, like, and man, like, it really just hit me last night. It's just taking total accountability for how you feel, like, regardless of the situation. And once you realize that, like, nothing outside of me, thou shalt have no power over me unless given to you from above, and he who delivers me unto you has the greatest sin. Like, that is the total and ultimate truth.
Yeah.
Of everything. Because when you realize that you're doing it to yourself, you kind of look at yourself and you're like, why am I making myself feel bad on purpose? Even though part of me is like, my ego is making me feel bad, and it's like, no, you just actually are deciding that on a level that you're not really understanding, and you're just allowing yourself to feel like that when you're the only one that's doing it to you. 100%. So once you realize that, like, I mean, I know that everybody respects himself to a certain degree, even if, there's lower levels and higher levels. But once you realize that you're the only person hurting yourself, and, you're somebody that has high integrity, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Obviously things aren't ideal, but if reality reflects who I'm being, and I'm sitting here allowing myself to hurt myself emotionally because of the way that I'm perceiving things, like, it just doesn't make any sense, Like, and like we were saying earlier, it just relates to having things and having them taken away. Those that do have will be given more.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm hurting because I feel like I don't have something, I'm the only person that's giving myself that experience. And even though I can look outside of myself and be like, it's not here. It's like, yeah, but who's hurting because of it? You're hurting because of the way that you're perceiving the situation. Like, you're not a victim to the circumstance. You're creating the circumstance to be a victim to it.
Man, 100%. That exactly. Even that looking out there for proof, right? Go a step further, because you said looking out and not having it. But even that looking out and needing that proof, right? Who is the one that's giving you the experience that you need to see something out there to convince you to actually give yourself an inner experience? It's all you. It always comes back down to us. We only experience anything inside of us. All of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, whatever the case may be. We're just translating things and creating stories within us. No one is forcing us to do anything. And no one has to grant us permission to feel any kind of way or begin to think a different type of way. It is all us, right? Accountability is, I would venture to say, it's the most important thing on this path. It's taking full responsibility of myself, my reality, my internal state of being at all times. Right? And actually studying myself instead of sitting around and studying everybody else out there, studying the politicians, studying the celebrities. I actually become the expert on myself. It's damn near a journey of self-mastery, right? Understanding myself so much that I begin to regulate my internal state of being, know my internal state of being, focus on myself, make myself truly the main character of my own story. Now reality can actually follow that. Anybody in the chat got another question? You better ask away while you got these two brothers. Y'all got shy thumbs now. Y'all write fast as hell in the DMs when y'all trying to ask me a question about y'all SP. But all of a sudden in these chats, now you got slow fingers. Now you can't type.
Let me tell you about your SP. No, for real though, like it's so crazy how everything's all the same answer. Cause like once, and like I don't, it's all a journey. Like I think one of the cheesiest or cliche quotes is like, like it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it's like that's a fact because you had what you had right now, would you feel the way that you do? And if you aren't that person right now, then where does your journey start and end? It could start and end right here, actually. Like you could just be, your journey doesn't have to take, manifestation is instant. Like that's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, when you manifest your inner self to be something completely different, like you start to realize that it's about your SP, regardless of whether it's an ex or somebody like that. Like, why are you hurting because of it? Like, why? That's just it's like the cheat code. All of a sudden, my brain gave me last night. I was like, oh, like regardless of what's going on, I can choose my perspective on this, and I keep trying to convince my ego that it needs to think a different way. But that's been the game the whole time that I've been losing, is because like my ego makes me feel this way. It's like, no, I think you feel this way. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it to myself. So if I'm giving myself that, why can't I give myself something else without thinking that I need to believe it or that the ego needs to be on board? And I mean, eventually it will be, because once you get that proof and evidence, just like it's looking for the whole time.
Yeah.
Once you get the proof and evidence and everything going right, your ego's on board, and it's like, fuck yeah, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
And then people will think you're big-headed or whatever it is. It's like, no, dude, I'm just out here enjoying life, and I hope you do too.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's you're only ever hurting yourself or making yourself feel good. And even when things make you feel good, you're still giving that to yourself. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Like
you might think that this person gives you this emotional elation, which relatably they do, because your brain sees them, your eyes see them, you got all these hormones and all that shit going on in biology. But like the feeling comes from within yourself.
Exactly.
And then once you start getting committed to these people, or you start hanging out, then all these ego thoughts are coming in, and you're like, oh no, I gotta fix my ego. And it's like, no, you're just choosing to give yourself that emotion because it's relatable to something you've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're not choosing it, I don't want to be thinking that. Like if we were in control of all our thoughts all day, you think we'd think half the shit we did? No. Mm-hmm. Like why would I want to sit here and think unfavorably about anything that's going on in my life? It happens. But that's not separate of who I really truly accept myself to be, or else I wouldn't be allowing myself to think that or accept that emotion as if that's who I am, when I'm the only one giving myself that emotion.
Exactly.
Like it's so crazy how simple it actually is, even when things don't look favorable.
Exactly. It's very, very simple, but our human mind makes it more complicated, right? We're the only ones having our experience. Completely agree. Can't say it better than that. There's a question though right now that I want y'all to answer. I like this question. I don't know if it's a trick question. Well, it's not a trick question, but it's they say God isn't polarity, which I understand what you're saying by that, but anyways, I just read the question. God is a polarity, but when you say I am that I am, aren't you choosing a side? You want me to go first? Or you don't want to go first? All right.
Okay. From my understanding, man, God is everything, right? Everything is God. So there's no polarity itself. It's only the human experience. So God is everything, right? My chair, everything. So like we only perceive 1% of reality, right? You can imagine a black room, right? A dark black room, and we're the flashlight. Our awareness is the flashlight, right? We're everything. We always experience everything at the same time. I know for our human minds it's crazy to understand. And with our awareness, with our flashlight, we choose what we want, what we experience, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree. I agree. Even I would say, I get what you're saying about polarity. When I think of polarity, I think of like hot, cold, masculine, feminine, right? When we talk about choosing, when it comes to I am, right? Remember, there's only one law in this universe. The one law is I am. God is the substance that makes up everything. I am is the substance that makes up everything. It makes up this shirt, this white ass, crispy ass shirt I'm wearing, right? It's making up the phone. It makes up your SP, every single version of them. Everything that you say after I am, because I am is your true nature, is pure awareness, all that there is, right? If right now you had no memories, would you still exist? Of course you would. You would be in your natural state, just purely I am, just the observer of everything. Everything after I am is simply one perspective of all that there is. I am prosperity is just one perspective of all that there is. I am love is one perspective of all that there is. So you're constantly just taking these different perspectives of all that there is. Does that change God? Does that change I am? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am is just I am. You, right, as the that in the I am that I am, get to choose a perspective to enjoy life through. Does that make you less than all that you are? No. You're only experiencing, like Lucas said, this 0.0001% of reality. So you can only encounter this small fraction of everything at a time. That's just the experience that you are in as an individualized point of consciousness wrapped up in this human flesh, right? You're all that there is, but you're just experiencing it from one of infinite perspectives. That's all it is. So it's not about polarity per se, right? Polarity is an expression of, like, if you think of polarity, polarity would be like hot, cold, right? Masculine, feminine. Law of polarity is like the more masculine a man is per se, the more feminine the woman that he would quote unquote attract would be, right? You can kind of see that when you look at relationships. Or hot and cold, right? Like, where does hot and cold begin? Well, it's all relative, but it's polarity, right? So this isn't polarity per se. This is just you having a perspective of all that there is. Yeah, but well, if you're talking polarity, I wouldn't even understand the question. There's no polarity, like source is all that there is. Like, maybe I'm just misunderstanding.
Well, I think source encompasses the idea of what polarity is, so it's like both, at the same time. But I believe that's why we have the ability to choose. So technically, you could relate the idea of infinite perspectives with polarity, but at the same time, it's like you still define what your idea of that polarity is when it comes to an identity, and I think that's well, this is good or this is bad. Well, that's considered polarity based on your perspective.
Right.
So technically, you can identify as whatever you want, and your idea of good and bad or what that polarity is really up to your perspective. Because you could ask some people from a war-torn country if killing people is normal, and they'll say yes, and obviously people who are in society will be like, that's fucked up. But somebody who's living the identity of where they're at, I guess as far as the nature versus nurture type of thing, it'll shift to your idea of what's good and what's bad, or the idea of polarity. So I don't know,
Makes sense.
I think people get really wrapped up in just the I am, when the ultimate freedom is knowing that you are that and having the ability to identify as what you choose. So technically, you're entering the world of polarity when you physically interact third dimensionally. So you really don't have a choice. You're gonna experience hot water and cold water. Unless your nerves are shot. I'm very adamant about through all things. Could you experience through God? But you gotta have a super Christ consciousness to not experience hot or cold water, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel you.
Be somebody what is it? was it David Blaine? Is that who it was? The dude who like trapped himself in ice for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I ain't doing that shit.
He's gonna die.
I don't got that. I ain't got that level of discipline right there. But no, I feel you. So I guess that even goes back to what we're talking about on the basically, if you look at the story of Adam and Eve. So we did a discussion on Adam and Eve from like 8 different metaphysical perspectives, and one of them was simply a story of childbirth, right? Where Adam and Eve biting of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil just represented when you are born. You are born into this world of duality. So the knowledge of good and evil, because there is no good and evil. There is only all that there is. And like Austin was saying, right? We just take a different perspective. Even morality is all based on location. It's based on the way you're raised, where you were born, where you were brought up, the systems that were in place. There's all kinds of different things that determine what you perceive as right and wrong. So when we are born into this duality, representing being kicked out of the garden, because in the garden of quote unquote Eden, right, everything was good. Everything was provided for. You can choose whatever you want, and you are fully provided by the source, right? You don't leave that. You are never banished. This is just a forgetting. So now we're in this journey of remembering who we are, right? So now we have realized the I am. But the next step is what? It's actually accepting that you are that, and that you always have a choice. You can always choose what you want. So we can look at the polarity from that perspective, like as a choice, right? You were born into this duality, or conceived into this duality as a human, and now you always get to choose your perspective of all that there is, right? Because reality is it's just God. It's just all that there is. Nothing is meaningful. And everything is meaningless until you walk in and you paint the picture of what it is with your consciousness by choosing right, wrong, good, bad. You know, it's all working out or it's not. These people are doing you wrong or it's all working out. Whatever you want to choose, you can always choose all that there is. All right. Okay.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something too.
Go ahead.
About like, okay, this is the biggest question ever since you were like 6 years old. You know, like, what's the meaning of life? I figured it out recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, but the meaning of life is, you know, not to sound like your fucking least favorite Sunday school teacher, but it's you. You are the meaning of life because you're the only one that assigns meaning to life. So, like, everybody's like, what am I doing here? Like, what's the purpose of life? And, like, that's the beauty of it, is that you have the ability to define that, yet you're looking outside of yourself for what the meaning of it is.
Exactly. Yeah, another way of saying it, I would say it's just to understand that you are the creator of it, right? And that's the thing. You don't even have to So, yeah, like you said, that would actually be right, because you don't even have to understand that you are the creator of it to know or to give it some kind of meaning. So life is whatever you say it is. It's just you. Agreed.
Yeah, the meaning of life is you. Like, oh, that's so cute.
I'm finna tell the next girl I talk to, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna tell her that shit. Next goddess.
Man, one of my buddies, he's not super metaphysical, but he's dropping shit on women. He tells me about it. He's like, hey bro, I'll fucking bust a gay with this. He's like, thank you.
Sometimes you gotta get in that bag. You know, baby, you are God. You know that, right? I just don't know why you don't see yourself the way that I see you.
Actually, one of my favorites too is honestly, I don't really know Lucas, but I've seen him around, you know, and different people that I dabble with. But one of the things that Eric says is you know, nobody's above you, nobody compares to you. And he'll be out here telling women that they're like, oh, I never heard nothing like that. It's like, you better start telling yourself that too, goddamn.
Right, for real. Telling it to everybody else but you got them. So, hey, if it works, it works though. But you know that nobody compares to you. Nobody is better than you. Oh, really? Absolutely.
And then to fluff yourself up too, it's like, you know, it kind of put it on. It's like, you must be the love you wish to experience. And I was like, what? This guy's emotionally intelligent.
Right.
Because that's what every woman says they're looking for nowadays.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I'm not trying to be pissed off about dumb shit.
Right. He's so in tune with himself. What a man. Yeah, you know.
Wow, what a nice, strong man. He's able to look at himself in the mirror.
Right.
Be okay.
Baby, tonight we finna read Proverbs together. We about to read Psalms.
And even if we disagree, it's fine.
That's funny as hell, man. Yeah, funny. What else y'all got? What else y'all got? I ain't gonna lie, your boy getting a little sleepy. So y'all really got until Austin and Lucas get tired. When they jump off, I'm jumping off. Are you talking about diet? You talking about diet, Manny? What do I think about only eating fruit? I say go ahead and eat what you want.
You gotta be eating them peanuts too.
Look, so when you think of even food, right, it's all made of the same substance. So me personally, right, I don't eat meat. Right. Well, y'all know that I made an exception a little while ago, but I typically don't eat meat because I just feel good. But let's really get to it. So everything is made of the same substance. Everything. What is worse, like the food you eat or what you actually believe about it? Yeah, I'm thinking of working through
I
it.
want to add something to this.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you're right. Everything is neutral. Like, if you want to see from a human science 3D perspective, it's a biological process, like eating and this kind of stuff from a body, right? Biological process, right? But the placebo effect shows exactly the opposite, right? Like with medicine, From a biological perspective, your body has to know there's nothing in there, or there's nothing in there, right? From a biological perspective, but your belief is stronger, like you had in earlier from you talked about placebo effect. It's the best example that doesn't biological and science and everything doesn't matter because your belief is stronger than every science or biological things that you think that rules you, that has the power over you or something like this. If really everything is neutral, then everything is neutral. If really everything is possible, then everything is possible, right? And the placebo effect, especially from a biological science perspective, shows it perfectly.
Yeah,
Because,
life is a placebo.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt, but
oh, sorry, no, I was.
Yeah.
damn it, I wasn't trying to kill your momentum, Lucas.
No, I'm good. I was in my last sentence. The last thing I want to say was, but we have to, then our limitation comes to play, right? Then we think, then our limitations stop us, right?
Yeah.
Because why just with medicine, right? It's a biological process, your belief is stronger. Why just with medicine? Why not with everything?
Yeah. So look.
That's a limitation.
Look at that. So even that question, right? How does one get all of the necessary nutrients from just fruit, though? Who told you there were more nutrients to get than fruit? Who is the one that is telling that story that there is more nutrients that you have to get? Who is the one saying that, right? You can say, oh, it's a scientist, but who is the one accepting that? It's you. There are people out there are plenty of fruitarians that live long, healthy lives.
Yeah, and also too, what about the potato famine? You know what I mean? Like they were living off of just potatoes. Like, are all the nutrients in potatoes that you need?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. I think it really depends on how you're trying to calibrate things too. Like there's plenty of stories, I'm sure, from natural living where people lived off of one thing for X amount of time. Now, did they have the correct macros and micros for themselves in order to be able to build the body that they want? Who's going to tell them that? But, I mean, you can't tell me that they weren't completely jacked and ripped, too, because of the physical labor they were doing, regardless of what they were eating.
Exactly. Right, exactly. That even goes to that story of, do you have to work out to get the body of your dreams? Your ancestors weren't in the gym. Go look at sculptures of them. They were all 8-packed up from walking around all day, man. Like you don't have. There's a lot of things that we are the ones who put the limitations. We install those limitations up here, and they manifest into physical reality. But who is the one that is saying those things? It's us. We are the ones that are saying, oh, we have to do this or eat like this, or I have to count my macros and do all. We are the ones saying that. But there are people out there, we all know a couple people like that don't work out, and they'll take their shirt off and they'll show you a whole chest full of abs, a whole stomach full of abs. How is that possible? So it's all mindset.
I will say too, like, as much as like we are the source of everything, we still have the ability to play with the physicality or the biological perspective of what we experience too. So it's like, you don't have to do these things to have a ripped body. You don't have to do these things at all, but you can focus, like we were just talking about, like the nutrients, like you can focus on your macros, and you can think about all these things that are going to your body, and you can also do certain repetitions to sculpt certain parts of your body.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like you won't get results from doing things, but at the same time, it's not necessarily about the doing things that gets the results in itself or in and of itself.
Exactly. You still instill a belief when you start doing those things. Go ahead.
Sorry, it was a delay. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh no, you cool. I was done. I was just highlighting.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I want to add something because I read a comment. Tima says, since I have a physical body, I will treat it like a body and get nutrients that I need to nourish it. That's my opinion. And I want to add something to that. It's great, we have a free will. We don't have to change every story. We can enjoy our stories with nutrition and fruits are healthy, right? We don't have to change everything because we can. This is our free will, right? We can accept the thing that we enjoy, and we can change the things that we want. It's our free will. So that's not about changing every story about in life and about nutrition. No, it's only just a perspective, that we can, but we don't have to. So it's full okay to enjoy, especially with gym, like, drink this protein powder and this kind of stuff. It's a great experience. Why not? You don't have to, but you can if you want to, right? So that's what I want to say. So,
yeah, I agree, right?
Awesome.
I agree 100%, right? These discussions are simply about pushing your perspectives, right? Expanding your minds to what's possible and the role that the story that you tell about everything plays in your life, right? Like, you don't have to accept everything, right? You don't have to reject everything, but you always have the opportunity to choose, right? The only thing I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to fight just because I believe something. I don't have to mark it as the absolute truth. Right? I can still open my mind to the other possibilities that are out there. But you even have you can still even choose not to open your mind to other possibilities. So it's still all you. You still have absolute free will.
There's a question that I want to highlight. It's from Shadia Rose. Can you all speak on staying in the awareness of being whatever one chooses to possess during the unfolding? I would like to get you guys' perspective, but since I highlighted it, I'll go ahead. Because I think that's like one of the most important questions that people ask when they have this type of topic or this information. It's all about staying in the state of being or the awareness of what you want to be, and then everything's going to unfold around you, which is the truth.
Yeah.
But I think the trick, it's just like we were talking about earlier with the ego. Like, that's the trick. Like, you don't have to stay in the awareness. Like, you're placing yourself outside of it. And once you realize that, like, you're the one doing that, you start to understand that you can do it the other way, too. like the minute that I'm trying to stay in the awareness of something means that I'm not in the awareness of it. So when I question it, like, because I'm like, am I doing it right or am I doing it wrong? I'm creating the idea that there's a separation between the awareness that I would choose to be in and the awareness that I'm currently inhabiting. But it's always changing every single second too. So you can be there right now and then you could not be, or you could be there for 5 minutes and you could not be, but then you start to realize that you're the only person giving yourself this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I also want to start with a question. Who told you that you're not? Who told you that you're not, right? It's always you, right? Always the stories. No thought, no feeling can tell you otherwise until you accept it, right? You're always in a perfect in alignment if you allow it to be, right? If you allow yourself, no matter what happens inside or outside, if you don't give the power outside or to anything, right? So who told you that? That's the biggest and greatest question in this case.
100% agree. 100% agree. Right? We're the whole alignment, out of alignment, staying in the wish fulfilled. That's the interesting thing. It's always like, well, who says you're not in the state of the wish fulfilled anyway? Right? Whenever you quote unquote believe or feel like you're out of it, you're the only one that's telling the story that all of a sudden I'm wavering. All of a sudden I'm not the person that I desire to be anymore. You're the one that is simply telling those stories within your mind. And now all of a sudden, because you identify with those stories, you're causing your own suffering. But the truth is, once you've made the decision, you can accept that you are that person. And now you can walk forward just knowing that you are that person, point blank, period. It goes back to when you learn how to ride a bike, you don't walk around and affirm and visualize yourself riding that bike to remember it. You know how to ride the bike. And so now when you are walking through life, you can just get on the bike whenever it presents itself and you're fine to do it. All right? This is the same way. When you accept that you are source, when you accept that you are reality, you are everything that you desire to be right now. When you accept that, that goes for everything. That is an unconditional knowing. So now when you're walking through life, if that thing comes up in your mind, you can remind yourself, I already have it, it's already mine. If you feel opposite about it, whenever you're done feeling sorry for yourself, you can remind yourself you've been it the whole time and you can move forward. It's not about walking around all day and affirming that you are this person all day. You simply are source. You just are. You don't affirm for your heart to keep beating. You don't affirm to continue breathing. You just walk through life and those things handle themselves because you are source. Have that same perspective with your desires and being that person. The only person that's telling you, the only person that's saying that you're wavering or that you're out of the state of the wish fulfilled or that, you know what I'm saying, you're not in alignment anymore is you. But you are so in alignment that you can begin telling a story that you're not in alignment and reality will say yes. You couldn't even create an experience of not being in alignment unless you were perfectly in alignment to do so. You are alignment. You are the vibration that you're looking for. You are source. You are all that there is. And now you can pick and choose your stories as you walk forward from that knowing. They're asking for you, Austin. Go ahead.
Somebody, Christina Mendoza, how to not identify with those stories. How do you not identify with the stories of what the ego is presenting yourself? Well, once you realize that it's just you stop hurting yourself. you stop wanting to like if I don't choose these thoughts, they just happen. But I'm sitting here getting emotionally affected by them. Part of me is saying, oh shit, that's true. Like, oh shit, like I hurt because of this circumstance. And then when you realize that you're the only person hurting yourself, you start to get tired of it. You know, you start to really realize that no one's doing anything to me. Nothing is happening to me except for what I decide is happening to me. And even though things don't look favorable, like I get to choose who I am no matter what. So, you know, if this person tells me fuck off today, I'm like, you know what, that doesn't define who I am. I know our relationship, that's cool. I don't need you to show that to me because I already decided that. And the more that I sit here and think, oh, you saying fuck off to me hurt my feelings, well, no, I hurt my own feelings. Like, regardless of what you said, you could tell me anything in the world. You could speak to me in a different language and cuss me out in 10 different ways, and if I don't understand what the hell you're saying, then it doesn't matter, you know? And it's not like I don't understand or interpret what you're saying, but also the way that I view it is how it affects me. So, you know, and that's one of the hardest things that I think we go through is like, okay, I've been told that if I just am this thing, I can have this desire no matter what. It's like, yeah, that's true. But are you suffering because you don't have it? And would you be suffering when you did have it? And that's the whole crux of like, you gotta be it to see it. Like, if you're not suffering when you have it, then you wouldn't suffer while you didn't have it. Because if you had it, then you wouldn't be suffering, right? So who are you being right now? And that's key. Like, that's what people are like, oh, and it's like, well, who would you be in that moment? You'd be peaceful, you'd be happy, you'd be calm in who you are, and you wouldn't be worried about what your ego's saying or any of this shit, because I'm not hurting myself because I feel like I have what I want, right? But if I don't feel like I have what I want, then I'm hurting myself based on my emotional response to what I perceive is going on.
Beautiful. I should just let everybody up here. Why not?
Before you do that,
Oops. Oh, go ahead.
hey, so I am just part of the whole like separation, not separation thing, and I kind of want to circle it back to the body question from earlier. So this has actually been weighing heavy on me. Somebody mentioned that when, let's say you get a cut, right? Or let's keep it simple. Let's say if you have like back pain or knee pain, it's easier to say, I'm not going through this knee pain or this back pain, my body is. And I can separate myself from the pain that my body is going through because I'm just awareness in the body, and if I act like it doesn't exist, then there's no pain. So I said, okay, and then I had a conversation with somebody, and I said, so how does it work? And I know I'm asking 3 men this question, but I was like, how does it work with childbirth? I don't have children, so maybe the ladies that do have kids can tell me. But they're saying, yeah, the body knows what to do. So if you're having, if you're giving birth, your body knows what to do. You should actually stay out of it and just allow your body to do its thing because it's separate from you. And I was like, that's interesting. So I just would love to hear, maybe not the childbirth part, obviously, but I think back to like the knee or the back pain. What do you guys think about that? The separating the awareness from the body.
Y'all go first.
I love how everybody's like,
No, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, that's why, like, people talk about adrenaline. Like, people can flip cars and shit when somebody's underneath the car. It's like, can you do that otherwise when you're associating with the physical limitations that you think the body has?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's what people, adrenaline is definitely a chemical, an active chemical, but like, adrenaline supersedes every physical limitation that we think we have, right? I think that's why, like, when you talk about like extreme pains, like, part of why do we pass out? Like, why do we go unconscious to experience the pain that we're experiencing in the body? It's because we understand like how our body's reacting to it, but we're not that thing, so our body automatically shuts off. This is just like an interpretation of it, but you pass out because you're in so much pain. Well, you don't feel it then, right? Because you're not the body. No, you're definitely gonna fucking feel it when you wake up. Don't get me wrong. What happens? But like go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, just based on like what you were saying earlier about there's no separation. So I was like, so how do we have no separation? But then when it comes to our awareness and our body, we now do separate because we're like, oh no, that's you over there going through that. That's not me.
That's you over there meaning a different person, a different avatar, or that's you
Just
meaning
the body.
that's
like,
the
oh,
body.
The body, like, yeah, like, oh, it's my body that's in pain, but that's not me. Because then wouldn't that now cause a separation? Because now I'm just watching my body heal itself, but I'm telling myself that I'm not the one in pain, so I'm good to go for the rest of the day, but my body can take its time to heal?
I don't know about y'all, but I just tell myself that I'm well. I don't know about separation business, but I don't know if that's wrong. Well, it can't be wrong because it seems to be working for me.
Well, yeah, and it does work, right? But we overly, okay. So let me give y'all my view. We overly identify with our body sometimes, right? The body is a vessel, but we tend to think that we are within our body. You're not even inside of your body. Your body is inside of your awareness. You're not inside this world. This world is inside of your awareness. We just perceive the world through the eyes of this physical vessel. But your awareness is much more than this. Your awareness is all that there is. You are pure awareness. You would exist without this body. This body just happens to be a vessel that you are going through this life in. That is it, right? This body can die. So this body can't be you. So when I'm talking about unity, right, or oneness, I'm talking about the oneness that is everything. Not necessarily the oneness that is you and your body. Yes, you are one, but this vessel is just a temporary thing. Anything that is temporary cannot be the absolute truth. It's just right now. So yes, you can have these outer body experiences where you fade into your awareness and you just perceive the world, right? I was in a fire back in 2014. Whenever I was in that fire, I remember the fire hitting me. It hit me on the stomach. And whenever it hit me, I heard myself grunt. And from that point forward, I didn't feel anything. Everything just slowed down. It was as if I was watching myself. And there was a moment where I was like, oh shit, I am going to die. And then I was like, oh no, I'm not. Let me go and figure this out. And then all of a sudden I was back in this situation and boom, everything happened, right? It was just an out of body experience, but it was the knowing that you are the awareness. You just completely detached from this physical vessel because it's simply a vessel. It's not the truth of who you are, right? This is why you can say, oh, look, there's no pain. You can say, I am healed right now. The body might feel sickness, but the knowing of I am healed heals the body. Right? Because you are the awareness, you are above the body. Your consciousness supersedes all of reality because anything that is temporary isn't the quote unquote truth. You are the truth. Awareness is the truth. So that's what I would say.
I would say too, like the idea that you separate the body from the fact that you are awareness. I think it further points to the idea that that's truly what we are, is the awareness, because we're aware of the body. So we can get the idea of like, oh well, if I choose, like going back to the question, like if I choose to not experience the physicality of my body, isn't that creating separation? And it's like, I think it just further proves that you are the awareness and you are experiencing the body, but you're also all things, because when you die, you don't technically die, right? Like energy can't be created or destroyed. What's everything made out of? It's all energy. Yeah. So it's just conscious awareness experiencing itself over and over again. But I don't think somebody mentioned this to me within the last couple of months. They were like talking about how you're not aware when you're unconscious, but that's not true because your body's still functioning, right? So it's like if I go unconscious, like, does that mean that I'm not aware? It's like, no, it's just that my human brain isn't sending signals to the way that I'm correlating or interpreting reality right now. But beyond that, I am the awareness and the quote unquote whatever subconscious that's keeping my body alive at that point in time. So even if it's forced, like I'm not experiencing the physical signals that my body's getting, yet I still am the awareness of having that body.
Yeah.
But you can still separate yourself even if it's not intended, right? Like that's what I was saying earlier. When you experience so much pain, you like pass out. It's like, well, you didn't die, but when you wake up, you were just in such shock that your body decided to make you unaware of the things that were happening in your physical experience. But I get what you're saying though, because it could introduce the idea of separation, but I think it just further points to the idea that we really are just awareness before we're the body.
Yeah.
But there is no separation in that. That's why you're higher than the body.
Yeah. The paradox.
I agree. You can also see it like this. I don't know if it makes sense, but in my head now it makes sense. it's not that you separate yourself, it's more that you choose another perspective, right? You choose more the observer perspective than the complainer perspective, right? Than identified with the pain. You choose more to be aware, to observe it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think also it goes to further prove that what you're not aware of, you don't experience.
Very
But
true.
what our idea of what our awareness is based on our senses.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, we limit ourselves just to our senses. You're absolutely right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. That's all you have right now?
Yes, that's my only question.
Will do. All right, who's next? Who's next? Oh, so y'all not gonna unmute? Do I have to unmute both of y'all?
I was waiting in line patiently, Okay. Anyway, so since we're talking about the body and out of bodies, I guess it's aligned. So I was very much on the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation line of things, and I stopped. I remember you saying like you can do meditation, but do it being who you are. But the meditation started to at first it was helping, and then I started to feel more anxious afterwards. You know when Joe says like if you let the thoughts take over, you come out being worse than you started.
Oh, my bad. I haven't heard that, but that sounds scary.
Yeah, it was like my thoughts. I started thinking about all the things that could go wrong, and it just started to get worse. And so I just stopped meditating, and then I'm in this place when I want to, because meditation for me was not just about healing and abundance and changing who I am. I also want to astral travel. I want to be able to leave my body. Is that too far? Did I go too far?
No, you cool.
And so I feel like unless there's some other way to do it, or I don't.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, why? Okay, this would be the equivalent of somebody telling you, "Don't walk under the ladder, or you're gonna have bad luck for 7 years." Who determines if that's the truth or not? It's you. So anybody can say, "Oh, if you start meditating, all of a sudden, the things could get worse." Who is the one who actually is believing that and is actually accepting that as their truth? No one's forcing you to. It doesn't have to be your truth. I've never heard that saying.
I'm not talking about things get worse. I'm not talking about that aspect.
Anxiety?
It's what you're talking about when you're meditating, and if you stay in your old thoughts, you can end up making yourself sicker.
Well,
And when I
that's
was meditating, I was like, my thoughts would I could be okay, and then I'll start meditating, and then all these thoughts will come up, and I spend the whole meditation fighting the thoughts. And I felt, when I came out of it, I felt worse. Oh, Alex, can I add to this?
yeah, absolutely.
Because I did do Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation program. I did a couple of them. One was 3 months. You meditate for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, and a lot of it was surrounded by reprogramming your subconscious mind and sort of rewiring. Because that's a lot of what Dr. Joe teaches is like the rewiring and the reason why you're stuck and all those things. So it sounds like to me what she was experiencing, and correct me if I'm wrong, was you were in a state of anxiety because a lot of the things were coming to the surface for you that maybe you had experienced in your life. I'm just just taking a wild guess. I don't know if this is why you felt a little bit more anxious during, and the thoughts that you were connected with, right? They're pretty scary. They're intense emotions, thoughts, beliefs. So when that does come to the surface, there is a time where you could stay there and you can live in that throughout your meditation and through the rest of your day. Does that sound like maybe what you experienced?
A bit. Like, because I've been doing his meditations on and off since 2020, and I've never experienced this. Like, it usually has been very helpful. It helped me calm the anxiety and bring me out of a very dark space that I was in. And then it just seemed to turn into, it was just bringing me backwards.
Yeah, I think that that's just like an indicator, right? Like, I was gonna say this too earlier about the conversation about when we feel bad and it's our ego, or we are identifying things as something that maybe we can't move past, or we're identifying it as something. But to me now, I just look at those things, those moments as indicators of what I'm feeling, and instead of holding on to it, I allow it to pass through me, and I don't try to run away from it. And usually right away, right? Like, it lessens when I don't try to run away from that emotion. It gets lighter and lighter. I like to imagine it as me sort of giving that part of me a big hug, like I'm a child, and say, like, it's okay, I'm feeling this for a reason. It's coming to the surface. So maybe what you're feeling is something that is deep rooted in you, that's coming out, and that you just are processing. I don't know, but it kind of sounds like that could be it.
Maybe. I think it's because it was,
What do you think it was helping you at first?
say that again?
You said at one point it was helping you, right?
Yeah, and I think it might be because it was different things. Because the issues I was dealing with before were emotional issues, and so like I was dealing with depression, and so it helped with the depression. But now it's like I've been concerned about things in the real world, like bills and stuff, and then that becoming like certain things going horribly, scarily wrong. And so I think because it's outside of myself, it just, like, if I start panicking about a bill, I can just call LADWP and be like, okay, can we work out a plan, and then I can stop worrying about it. But it was to the point where it was nothing I could physically fix, and so every night it would stress me out. And so when I go into meditation, because now I'm not meditating, I'm not stressed about it. I'd be like, okay, everything's gonna work out. But as soon as I got into the meditation, it would be like, this is gonna happen, and it was like, whoa, what's this doesn't feel safe to me anymore. And it used to be a safe space for me. It used to be a space where I could get power, and now it's like I don't want to meditate anymore. You know, I listen to a Joe video and all these people getting their healings, and they having all these spiritual experiences, awakenings, and I'm like, well, where am I? Why I can't see a blue being? What y'all doing?
You said the blue being.
Yeah, blue being.
You
Back
sure?
to Egypt or to the next planet or something. That's what I'm here for.
Well, the thing is like too, you know, is it meditating that's the problem, or is it the way that you're reacting to the problems that you're experiencing? Even because you know, like, it's really stressful, right? And I'm not saying it ain't.
I would understand if it was just if I was experiencing that stress when I'm like up and about. I'm not feeling that. So it's the fact that I get in there and it just activates to the point where now I'm scared to meditate.
Right. Is that just like is that like when you finally have time to not think about other things and then these things come to mind? Like you get into that meditation and it's like, okay, this is...
about it.
Huh?
But when I feel like a bad bitch when I'm awake.
Well, you are.
It's scary when I'm in the meditation.
But that's the story that you're telling, right? You're going back to that that same kind of so even right now you're standing on it. You are putting your feet in the ground and you are holding on to that story, and it's as if there is some magical thing. Whenever you go into meditation, there is something outside of you that is causing you to be out of control when there isn't. There is just your story about it being materialized. Even the first thing that you said about Dr. Joe saying that if you, I forget exactly, I don't want to misquote you or misquote him, but even holding on to that story, right? That simply just becomes your truth. And now every time you go in, you already have that expectation and you're just reaffirming that story over and over and over and over and over again. Meditation is safe. It's a safe place. It's literally just you and yourself. The next part I would say is, even when you talk about fighting your thoughts, well, that's always going to be a problem. The more you fight things, the more they're going to show up. You don't have any thoughts to fight. You're not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You can allow those things to rise up and pass you and continue to go. You don't have to react to them. You don't have to identify to any of them. But the more that I try to fight them, then I already have the expectation that my anxiety is going to act up in meditation. And I already have the story that somebody told me that it could get worse. Well, all these things are just adding up to one hell of a belief. And that belief is simply being outpictured every time you sit down and close your eyes. So what?
It's all just a belief.
What else could it be?
Oh my God,
Really think about this. What else could it be, right? Think about the story that you're even telling to explain this. You've already said, every time I get into, that's a hell of a belief. Every time I sit down in meditation, my anxiety grows. Then fighting your thoughts. When has fighting your thoughts, even without that story, when has fighting your thoughts ever helped anybody with anxiety? It won't. Fighting your thoughts is just going to give you more anxiety. That's all. And then you hold on to that first story of saying, hey, look, I was already told that, oh, if I do this the wrong way or if this happens, then it could get worse. Well, that's a scary thing to hold on to. So if I hold on to that, then I go in, I feel anxiety, and I'm fighting my thoughts, and now I'm coming out saying every time I go in, why not simply create meditation or tell a different story about meditation that it's a safe place? Introduce yourself to a safer environment. Stop trying to fight your thoughts. Understand that all of your thoughts are simply perfect aspects of you. Instead of pushing them away, make love to them. You don't have to beat them up. You don't have to fight them off. Fighting them off doesn't work. It just makes them come back stronger and stronger. And now y'all are fighting each other hard.
Yeah, and two, like, it's all coming from yourself. And, like, more stressful circumstances based on how you look at it might stress you out more. But if they're coming to mind when you're in meditation, because that's what you're focused on now, like, you're obviously more stressed about certain things in your life than others. So right now, if you're focused on that, you don't got to be thinking about it all day or nothing like that. But really, like, all the stress, like, that comes from whatever's going on is coming from you. Like, the circumstance or the bills, like, the bills don't give you stress. You give yourself stress about the bills. And it's not to say that you shouldn't, right? Like, it's a survival instinct. But, like, once you start to realize, like, oh, wait, I'm stressing myself out. Like, yeah, this circumstance may be giving me stress according to what I think is going on, but if I'm the one that decides whether it's stressful or not, then if I love myself and I really respect myself, why the fuck am I stressing myself out? Even if I don't have a plan, because it's not about being apathetic and being like, oh, it'll just work. Something's going to work out, most definitely. But in the meantime, am I going to choose to suffer or not?
Yeah. 100%.
I'm just concerned about where the change happened, because it was very much so like I would go into meditation and I would relieve that from me.
Well, it is coming from you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So, like, there is no answer that, anybody can really, because we can speculate all day long, and you can have 5 different things to go to sleep to think about tonight and be like, damn, is it that or is it that? And I need it.
What it is, but more to how to just stop that from happening. Because I want to be able to.
But do you want to feel like that? Like, do you want yourself to experience that? Because like, that's all it comes down to. Like, if I, it sounds crazy. Like, it's super easy, right?
Choose.
That's not necessarily always as easy as what it may seem. But like, if I'm making myself feel bad based on the way I'm thinking about this, why would I want to do that to myself, regardless of how dire the circumstances?
It's not like I'm purposely trying to make myself feel bad. I go into the experience expecting it to be of a higher level.
I hear you.
Yeah, and I don't mean like nobody really decides like against themselves, because that sounds crazy to everybody, right? Like if you ask somebody, they're like, would you rather think favorably or not? Like obviously we're always going to say yes, no matter who you ask. So I'm not saying like you're consciously choosing to feel bad, but once you realize that your bad feelings are coming from you, it's a lot easier to stop them, because you're like, oh, I'm giving this to myself.
Because that was the point of the meditation, and now I'm like, if I feel better not doing it, what is the point?
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I think that you literally just need to allow it and just say, like, if I have anxiety, then I have anxiety. One of the biggest things that helped me is like, I used to get scared to crash out. Like, I didn't want to crash out. I didn't want to have all these huge emotions and feel bad and cry. And the moment that I just decided, like, well, that's just a part of being a human. Like, I'm going to cry sometimes. I'm going to have anxiety. It literally minimizes it. The moment that you just say to yourself, like, I might have anxiety around this meditation, and that's okay. I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to work through these big emotions that I'm having and these big feelings. I guarantee you're going to feel better right away. Because what you're doing, like what it sounds like to me, is you're fighting the fact that you have anxiety. And you answered the question earlier yourself. You said, the reason why it feels different is because I have a different set of problems. Before it was about depression, and now it's about bills. So you already answered the question of why you have anxiety, because it's a different problem. So all you really need to do is just be like, you know what? I think your name is Nelly. Say to yourself, Nelly, like, I'm gonna have anxiety about this until I don't have anxiety about it anymore. And I guarantee you, you'll feel so much better right away.
That's a I think it's a big rejection to anxiety.
Decide and allow. So that is.
I don't mind crashing out. I'm okay with a crash out. I'm forgiving myself for crash outs, and I'm cool. Like I got on somebody, I'm like, oh yeah, I did that now. Before I used to really have an issue with it too, but I see where I still don't.
I'm just saying it. You switched it to anxiety, like you're not allowing yourself to have the anxiety around the meditation, and so it's gonna keep happening.
I'm listening to what you said earlier about not liking the fact that you didn't like the crash outs. I can see what you're saying, because I used to feel the same way, but now like I've very much accepted that, but I haven't accepted anxiety. Yeah.
I think too, like with what I was saying, it's like I'm not saying don't feel your emotions either. Like definitely we're all humans. Like something's gonna happen that you don't want to happen, but when you realize that emotional response that happens from it is literally coming from how you're perceiving things, like it's a lot easier to not hurt yourself. Like I said, I'm not saying don't experience emotions. Like when something bad happens, somebody passes in your family, you can't really help but react a certain way. But even then, I'm not saying be callous either, but some people could probably pass that with ease too, as far as their emotional response to somebody really close to them dying. But what I was trying to say is that the grief that we experience is part of the human experience, but also we have a choice to view it a certain way. Mm-hmm. And like she was saying as well, like meditation was cool until it wasn't, right? Because of the way that I'm looking at certain things in my life. And honestly, you don't, in my opinion, like, you don't really have to meditate, and if it's something that you don't feel comfortable doing, then don't do it. Like, if you're getting to a point where it's actually stressing you out, like, I wouldn't recommend it at all.
So now that's another point. You saying you don't have to meditate?
Sure don't.
And I feel like in my mind, that's just like, how could you not meditate? Like, how can you be a higher level being and not meditate?
Just
How
know.
can you astral travel and not meditate?
Well, there are people that will astral travel. I've had experiences where I've had out of body or mystical experiences out of meditation, just by chilling, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm out of my body. So it's not a prerequisite at all that you sit down and actively create a space to meditate in. Even that is a limiting belief, right? You are a spirit. You are pure spirit. You are God, right? Why do you have to sit in meditation to get to know yourself as God? Every experience is a meditation. You walking around and stepping in grass is a meditation. You eating is a meditation. It's all a meditation.
Well, Dr. Joe talks about walking meditations too. That's eventually the point that he gets people to do. Is like you're not necessarily meditating to achieve a result. You're meditating to focus on who you are. And like he eventually gets to the point where he teaches you how to walking meditate. So he's basically teaching you how to be in the present moment at all times, and that's what meditation is.
Absolutely.
That's why you don't necessarily have to be in a lotus position or anything like that. Like Alex was just saying, you just have to be present right now. And if you're not focused on something, your mind is aware of itself, and that's it. So technically, you're always meditating if you're being in the present moment.
Meditation is my least favorite meditation.
It's the best one, though. It's the best one. The walking meditation is the best because that's
Interesting. I say it's the best one, and I don't like it. That's something really interesting.
well because that's the state of being that you want to be. Right. So let's even go a little bit further. Meditation. You sitting around, me sitting around and daydreaming about the future is a meditation. Me sitting around and regretting the past and just dwelling on the past and telling a story of what I don't want to experience over and over again is a meditation. So the more I can train myself to be in this present moment, which is the only place where I will ever experience life anyway. When you have what you want, where will you enjoy it? Right now in this moment, right? When you go through love, when you had love or heartbreak, where did you experience it? In this present moment. So being in the present moment connects you to everything that you desire. And so the more that you can focus, more that you can just be present, be in life, enjoy life, that this is where all the magic happens anyway. I think Austin was talking about this earlier, right? We tend to lose people because we are not in the present moment with them. And then we go down this path of trying to manifest SPs back and money back. And we're still not even in the present moment when we're trying to do that. We're constantly thinking of a future with them, a past that we think is so real and solid that we have to go back and change, which is the same thing that we were doing when we were with them. Constantly thinking about all the things that could go wrong and not appreciating them right now, not realizing that everything is already perfect right now. So the present moment is where all your power is. And you don't have to sit down or lay down and close your eyes to be there. You can be in the present moment right now.
Okay.
So yeah, meditation is cool, but it's training wheels. It's getting you to that presence in your day-to-day life, right? In everything.
Can I add something? First of all, I agree, right? With meditation and being present, it's the same. You can see it like this, right? It's like immerse yourself and focus on one thing. That's meditation, I guess, if you want to break it down like this. But I love what you said with present moment, because I want to talk about the meditation process from my point of view, right? When anxiety comes up or stories come up, really, that's the best thing that can happen, right? This is where the magic happens. If you go beyond that, the keyword is here, allowance, acceptance, and observing them, right? Because it's not you. So it's a key point. If you go beyond that, then you become still and present. So you can see it like this. It's like a chance, an opportunity to release it, right? To release this. Because it's like your ego can't exist in the now moment. It always tries to think of the past or the future or try to solve a problem that, whatever, try to solve a problem, right?
Yep.
And that's why these things come up in the meditation, but it's the biggest blessing if you get beyond that, right? then you release that, and you're becoming still, and know that you're God, and you're present, and that's the best thing that can happen. So, yeah, instead, a thing is a bad thing, it's the best thing that can happen. If you go beyond it. Even Joe Dispenza talked about it.
Yeah.
I saw a short about it, like, oh, some people stop meditating because they feel fear and or they think they can't do it anymore. And he said, hey, that's the point. You have to go beyond that to really experience the magic of meditation. If you want to meditate, right? No forcing, but if you want to, because it's your ego who's scared. It tries to quote unquote survive, right? It can't exist in the present moment. So it comes up with everything. Oh, what if my bills? What if with this? And yesterday and tomorrow and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm glad you said that, because instead of me saying fighting my thoughts, that's what I meant. I'm trying to get beyond it to that point that you're talking about.
Yes, it's just allow, even if it feels scary, even if it feels bad, allowance, observing, and sitting with it.
And now I feel like I've given up.
You haven't. You haven't given up. You're just getting a new perspective right now.
Huh? I can't understand you, Alex, if you talk to me.
Oh, no, my bad. I was just saying, Millie said she felt like she gave up. I said, no, you haven't given up. You're just getting a new perspective, that's all.
Yeah, that's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Dr. Joe's gonna be so ashamed of me because I gave up.
Nah. Right. Because everything that even what you're experiencing right now, it is a tool to get you exactly where you want to be. If we talk about the quote unquote feeling of the wish fulfilled, if we could identify that close to any feeling, it would be the feeling of acceptance that you are already the person you desire to be, no matter what you're feeling, right? No matter if you're in anxiety, no matter if your thoughts are racing. So when we talk about getting beyond yourself, and one of the goals with meditation is, even when I'm feeling that anxiety, I don't have to fight off those thoughts. I can simply watch them, observe them, and know who I am still. I am still the perfection in the center of this storm. I am still the God in the middle of this chaos, right? This is where you get to. And you can only get that when you stop fighting. You stop striving. You stop trying, right? This is what I always say when I say, stop trying to be worthy. Stop trying to be in alignment. You have to try to fight off your anxiety. That's a losing battle. That's a losing battle. Fighting off your anxiety just leads to more of it. Fighting away your fear just leads to more of it. Just accept it. It's just anxiety. It has no power. You are still perfect in the middle of it. And so the more that you can even be present with that in your meditation, this allows you to actually walk through your day. And then the next time somebody pisses you off at work, the next time a family member does something, the next time you face anxiety in whatever situation, you have the tool to remind yourself that you are still the perfection in this storm. You get to choose how you see reality. You get to choose the story that you are telling when you observe this situation as the God you are. And now this situation must respond to you. You stop fighting against things and you simply know who you are and allow all those things to conform to that knowing.
And I want to add something. If you talk about this typical meditation becoming state meditation, that's the point of meditation, to experience that we are God, or that we are pure I am awareness, right? That's why we observe thoughts and go beyond ego or whatever, right? To really experience ourselves, what it means that we are not these thoughts and feelings and who we truly are. That's why we meditate, right? That's why it's so important to sit with fear, emotions, thoughts. That you, of course, we can talk about it the whole day, but if you experience for yourself, it's different, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important that it comes up, that you can have this experience and release it, and then the magic happens. I promise.
Agreed.
Yeah, and once you realize that it's all coming from you, you start to be easier on yourself. You know, it's like I'm not condemning myself for these thoughts coming up. It's just like, oh, this is coming from me. Like, okay, I understand. This isn't what I choose, so I'm okay with that because I don't want to hurt myself. Like that's the last thing I want to do. So if this thought comes up and I'm blaming myself for it, like once you realize all your emotional reactions and all your responses come from you, you start to be real easy on yourself. Like even when you do go through emotional responses, even when you are crying, it's like, okay, like I get it. This is happening right now, but I also know this is coming from me, so I can sit here and say, this is fine, but who am I choosing to be right now? Because I'm not trying to hurt myself. So all these thoughts are coming from me. So let me understand that I'm easy on myself, because the more that I try to fight those thoughts and the more that I condemn myself, the more that I feel bad the next time that happens. And I'm not choosing these thoughts on purpose. But if I allow myself to be easy and understand that it's coming from me, nobody's hurting me, nobody's doing these things to me, nobody's stressing me out, it's just me. I can be easy on myself and understand, yeah, this is a stressful situation, but I don't have to feel like this because I'm not trying to hurt myself.
Thanks.
Yeah, it definitely makes every day easier when you don't attack yourself for every little thing that happens. There's less highs and lows.
Y'all cooking tonight, man. Appreciate y'all. All right, since it's quiet, I guess I'll add one more thing. Even to add to that point that you made, Austin, with understanding that all of these emotions, all of these thoughts are coming from within you. Well, you can also go even a little further and start adding perspective to them. One of the things I used to deal with all the time when I used to, consider myself an anxious overthinker, was I only tried to fight those thoughts when I perceived them as quote unquote negative, right? But the quote unquote overthinking that I was doing was what I felt also made me beautiful in other areas of my life. It's what allowed me to show up for my family, show up for women I was with, show up for friends, whatever the case may be, show up at work a certain type of way. So how come in this area of my life I'm looking at this like a negative trait, this thinking, but in other areas of my life I'm looking at it like it's a blessing, like it's a gift, like it's an anointing over my life, right? So it's, do I truly know myself, or do I understand myself well enough to not demonize myself? This is that whole metaphysical casting Satan out of heaven, right? When we take part of our emotions, part aspects of ourselves, and we tend to demonize them or toss them out of the heaven of us, out of the kingdom, and we look at them like I don't even want to deal with them, right? And then we start labeling it and say, I'm an overthinker. Or we start saying, I have to fight my thoughts away. I have to fight this anxiety. I have to get rid of these thoughts. Why? They're just coming up from you. They're still parts of you. You can be kind to yourself. You can understand that, okay, these thoughts are just trying to help me. They're not trying to hurt me, but I can still choose what I want to identify as in the midst of all of this.
Right, and I'm not gonna identify as someone who's willingly hurting myself emotionally, because why would you do that? When you realize it comes from you, like, nah, I'm not choosing these thoughts because we say the ego, our brain has memories based on what we expect to experience based on our past circumstances. But I'm the one these thoughts are coming from, so I can choose to allow myself grace when these things come up because of my past experiences, and say I'm not going to identify with that emotion. It doesn't sting near as bad when you realize that you're hurting yourself. Like, they're like, oh, wait. Like, it's, of course, give yourself grace because this thing happened and now you got a defense mechanism. You can go into all the shadow work in the world. You can go into all the past stories of everything. But when you just realize that all that hurt's coming from you, you start to give yourself more grace and be like, oh, wait, like, no, this thing wasn't hurting me, or that person wasn't trying to hurt me. It's just the view that I took of it.
100%.
Somebody in the comments here said that I needed to regulate my nervous system. I used to believe that too, but as soon as I realized that I was perfect, that went away.
Yeah. The nervous system does not need to be regulated. You are already perfect. Unless you say you need to regulate it, then you have to.
Right, because that implies that the nervous system needs to regulate me.
Why would God need to regulate his nervous system?
It was part of the schematics.
It's built in. Really, if you want to look at your emotions a certain way, don't look at them as something that you need to control and tame and demonize and say this is good, this is bad, right? It's a guidance system. It's showing you how you used to think, how you used to expect things. All right, now you can just observe it. I think it was Luke. Was it Luke that was saying this earlier, right? These are these emotions that show up and they're just highlighting to you, right? Who like if you just paid attention to your emotions, you will realize, oh, I don't have to tell the same story. The emotions are just like quote unquote intrusive thoughts. They show up just to give me perspective on who I used to be, how I used to react, what my body wants to tell, the story my body wants to tell in this situation. But I don't have to tell that story. I don't have to identify as that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think somebody also had the question about going to see like a therapist. Like, why do they exist? Why does therapy exist if I don't need to regulate my nervous system? That's all they teach. I'm also for a counselor, and that I don't really get that part, but I think that for me, like I went down that path of therapy. Like I was in and out of therapy since I was 14 years old, and therapy is just like kind of that thing where it gets you stuck in the loop of talking about your problems and being beneath your problems. There's nothing wrong with it. I think therapy is a great starting point to understand your blind spots, right? But you have to transition out of that and say, well, what am I going to do about it, right? Because that is another victim mentality, to say like, I'm going to go talk about my problems once a week for an hour for the rest of my life and hope to see true change in my life. And I think that the transition into that is realizing that it's like what Alex said, it's like it's the story that you're telling yourself, right? And it's not about devaluing any therapy, counseling. It's not about that, because people do need people, they do need community, they need support. But I think overall, if you look at it as like a starting point to your awareness, then it could be great.
I think too, like, a therapist is only going to reflect who you're being, as everyone does. So, your therapist can only take you at the value that you give yourself to them. And if you convince them that you're fine, to them, you're fine, right? But if you're telling them about problems, then you have problems and they want to help you talk through them. But they're always going to reflect who you are. So if you're really savvy, like I've went to a mental hospital personally, like I've fucking been there, but they always took me at face value of who I decided I was at the time. So I could be mentally stable and tell them that I'm not, and they're going to take me at the value that I give them. Or I could be mentally unstable and convince them that I am, and they're literally only reflecting who I'm being at that point in time. And I do agree that it's important to have communication. Like, this is technically therapy in its own right. Us sitting here and conversating with each other about deep core values or philosophical things that mean a lot to us. But I really think that, like, everyone's always going to reflect you. So if I don't show up to a therapist for me to tell them I have a problem, then they're not going to find me in the street and tell me I have a problem.
Facts. That is so true. Yeah, the world can only reflect who you're being anyway, right? The one thing that reality does as a whole is as you identify as somebody, you're constantly you're constantly confronted with evidence that proves who you are. So if I decide right now that I need to heal, that I'm on this healing journey, right? If I go down that path, reality will continue to give me different things that will reinforce that I am somebody who needs to heal. This is just universal law, right? You're unconditionally supported in whoever you decide to be. So I'm not gonna say there's anything wrong with it. You go ahead, get all the therapy you want, right? However, once we start tying that to our self-worth, and we start saying, okay, once I am healed, then I will be worthy of getting what I want, right? And even when we talk about people that are unaliving themselves, right? I'm not sitting here and telling you to talk to somebody that's on the edge and tell them you don't need to regulate shit, right? Just sit your ass down. I'm not saying to say that, right? That would be extremely insensitive. But when we tie our inherent worthiness, right? Because I don't want us to veer off into two different conversations. When we tie our inherent worthiness to get what we want, to achieve the goals in our life that are set before us, when we tie that to nervous system regulation, when we tie that to going to therapy, now all of a sudden we are in this loophole. Because the more you try to control your emotions and suppress them and regulate them, the more them motherfuckers finna act up. The more you try to control your thoughts and your anxiety, the more they're going to act up, right? So I absolutely agree with everything that's said. Because I saw those comments that were like talking about that prevention of people unaliving themselves and things. That's a completely different situation than we are talking about right now. All right, floor is y'all's.
Stop playing games or something. Y'all quiet.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to start unmuting y'all. All right, your turn. Talk. All right, here. Can I answer your question? What was your question? Let's see. You must have been way back here. So I'm still scrolling and don't see it. Okay. How do you not fall into nihilism? Y'all pronounce it nihilism or nihilism? If I'm not my body, not even really here anyway, why anything matters? But isn't nihilism that's the thought, or that's the perception that there's only one reality though, right? So let me Google that shit.
Yeah, nihilism is basically like you don't want to be here anymore. Like you don't see the point. And it's kind of like, for me, it's like what Austin said earlier really stuck out to me. It's like the biggest question that people ask is, what is the purpose of life? Why am I here? And so nihilism is the opposite of that. They don't believe in free will, and they believe that there's no point, right? So once you conceptualize that you create your reality, or you're the co-creator of your reality, it changes the perspective. So it's kind of like literally what Austin said earlier, is that the purpose of life is you. You give it purpose. Like life has no purpose, you give life purpose. So that's how I would answer like the nihilism question, right?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was gonna say. You know, the abstract of the idea that you don't give meaning to things, so therefore it's meaningless. But it's like it's looking outside of yourself for the meaning of life, as opposed to just experiencing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds to me like you decided that you have no control over everything. Is that anything? Is that what that means? Like when people say when you make plans, God laughs. Like you can't make, you can't create your own reality. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's basically just saying that life has no purpose, and they don't see the point in living because, yeah, they don't believe in free will. They don't believe in reality creation. So they go to the extreme other side of it, and the extreme side of it is that they don't want to be here.
Damn.
I can read the definition real quick, just for anybody in the chat that don't know. So nihilism is a philosophy rooted in the Latin word for nothing, that asserts life lacks intrinsic meaning, value, or purpose, leading to the rejection of all objective truths, morals, and knowledge. Key forms of nihilism include existential nihilism, which sees life as pointless, moral nihilism, which denies objective right and wrong, and yeah, this word nihilism, which questions the possibility of absolute knowledge. All right, so the central idea is that life and the universe have no inherent purpose or meaning, and it denies the validity of objective values and beliefs, viewing them as human constructs or illusions. Interesting.
That word objective, man.
Right. Yeah, objective. So the thing is, this is the exact opposite of this space, right? Because this space is about, there is absolutely meaning in life. The meaning in life is your divine ass. You are the meaning of life, right? Like the good brother Austin was saying. All right? You are the one walking around and giving meaning to everything. Creating the beautiful story. You are constantly just walking around and telling the story of your becoming, of your being. And reality is responding to that, right? That is the beauty of life. Objective life.
Right, you can choose to be all that is, or you can choose to be nothing.
Yeah.
Which is everything. But yeah, I mean, it's essentially the exact perspective of it's like the polarity that we get to experience, and we're choosing that at all times. I can either choose to see everything, or I can choose to see nothing.
Interesting. I haven't looked at this definition in a while. I was just reading through it. Very interesting. Some of it. You know what I'm saying? Some of it, your boy resonates with.
I think the thing that rings the most true is that it just points out that there's no inherent meaning in anything. But that's the truth of all of it.
Exactly.
But that's the thing, is like you experience that polarity. You can either look at it as nothing, or you can look at it as everything, because it all exists no matter what.
Absolutely. It all exists. This part where it highlights, right, the rejection of the existence of inherent moral truths. Right, so believing that concepts like good and bad are not absolute. I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
I agree with that one.
Yeah, and that's the idea of like, I can assign meaning to nothing, or I can assign meaning to everything. And unfortunately, a lot of people assign meaning to too much things, and it becomes overwhelming.
Right. Here's another one, right? Epistemological. I know I said that wrong. But the philosophical stance that denies the possibility of genuine knowledge, or that nothing can be known for certain. Well, the only thing that can truly be known is what you know. But this it makes sense when you don't see yourself as source. All right. If you were to look at reality and say, you know what I'm saying, there's no good and bad, there's no, intrinsic value in anything in reality, and I am not the source, well then say, well, nothing can be known for certain. But you are the knowing. So even me saying that nothing can be known is a knowing.
Yeah, I think the lack of purpose comes from the idea that you don't assign meaning to things. So you get into a place where you get really dark and depressed because you feel like you don't have control. Essentially what Nelly and Cora were saying earlier. Like, you believe that there's just you don't have free will. You believe that it's fate.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and that goes into the fate of dying, like everybody dies, but if you only associate with the human body, then you assume that your fate is just to live for nothing and then experience whatever you perceive reality is until you pass from your human body.
Man, when I was a kid, I used to wish the topic was real. Like, man, it'd be so cool if we could do magic. And this is just like the best form of magic there is.
It is.
I don't know why I said that.
Every moment is magic, right? Every moment is absolute magic. What else y'all got? What else y'all got?
Well, I was gonna say, like, that was something that I was studying earlier, is like your beliefs, right? I believe that's one of the laws of the universe, that yeah, there is no entity saying that you are bad or you are good, and they're judging your actions and saying, well, you don't get this upgrade in life because you did something bad, right? There is no law stating that. So it really is based off of your own beliefs and your world, your own universe of limitation. Like, what do you believe is possible? What do you believe is wrong, right? Because that coincides with what you can attain and what you can get to in this lifetime. Because yeah, I feel like that is like polarity. Like, what is good, what is bad? You can ask, like you said, 10 different people, you get 10 different answers because there is no law, right, that states that.
Yeah, for sure. We got to stop making God Santa Claus. Keep going. Keep going, girl.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically like how I feel about it. Like, I think that beliefs and awareness of those beliefs is like literally reality creation, because if you are thinking in those limited beliefs, then that's the only thing that you're going to get. And I also do think too that a lot of people will try to put their belief system on you and get you into their paradigm and their small box. And if you are just not aware of expansion and questioning every single belief that you have, right? Because what it really comes down to, for me, is this belief serving me? That's it. Right. Is it serving me? Is it making me the person that I want to be? And if it's not, then it doesn't need to be here any longer. And also the fact that you can change your belief system at any given time. You're not stuck in a belief system to say like, oh, I can't change this about myself, right? So I'm just trying to be like more aware of that. Is that like any given time I can change anything that I want. I'm not stuck. And yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're never in a prison except for the prison that we choose to be. We always have the choice to grow, to evolve, to entertain other perspectives, to drop them. I'll go ahead.
Oh, no, that was it. That was like basically what I wanted to add to the conversation.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody else said something. Yeah. I'm gonna let y'all carry the conversation, by the way. Man, your voice, it's been a day, man. It's been a day. It's been a day. I've been doing a lot of talking. I started here talking for about an hour. So this is y'all's time. I appreciate y'all. Well, unless y'all got something else, I'll probably wrap this up. Y'all got anything else for me? Or anything else for each other? There's a question. Is that a question? I see SP, but it's behind my white tee, so I can barely see it. Still not ready to talk to my SP. Oh, no, it's not a question. All right then, well. All right, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Oh, you like the ring? It says warrior. It says warrior. My mom gave it to me. It's I wear it as a reminder. I know y'all probably thought it was a wedding ring. You know what I'm saying? Y'all probably thought. Right. You know, this is actually this probably looks like my left hand, doesn't it? It's my right hand. It's just the backwards effect of the camera. But anyways, y'all, I appreciate y'all for joining. All right, I'll talk to myself then. I appreciate y'all for joining. I appreciate y'all for coming up here and discussing things, asking questions, and then just talking. I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for jumping on, man.
It'd
But
be nice if you provided some food, but
you say what?
it'd be nice if you provided some food, but it's all right.
I know, right? Maybe next time. Maybe next time. Nah, I got y'all. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed evening. Remember, y'all are already everything that you desire to be. Okay? You are not striving to get to wholeness or perfection or worthiness or none of that. You are already everything that you seek. The only thing that's keeping you from seeing that in your reality is acceptance. Right? Stop trying to be in alignment. Stop trying to be worthy and just know yourself as the source. Know yourself as everything you desire to be. Probably be back on tomorrow. I'm finna start doing it. Instead of inviting y'all up one by one, I'm just gonna invite everybody up here. May the most aggressive question win. All right, how about that? So appreciate y'all and talk to y'all again tomorrow. Peace.